All right. Well, shall we start the show about Destiny? And should we do it in Nidedemon's honor? Should we do just like a nice low key show? You know, just a nice, calm, relaxing show that
Yeah, no pirate
can sit
voices
back
this
and
week.
I'm surprised you guys can hear me at all. I am pushing a whopping 1 meg.
that's more than enough data, sir. Do you have any idea how much audio it takes? It's not that much. That's enough to do audio for like an entire conference of people.
1 meg?
Yeah, audio is tiny. Like you're talking like a couple of kilobits a second to get your audio across. You don't need that much. Audio.
Why is it that we're
audio
always
very
breaking
small.
apart? Even Discord's in the red. He's all like, "Dude, I can't do it." Oh, now it's green. But yeah, no, it's just
Because
I'm
you live in a
struggle busting
sinking island. You live in a sinking
I'm in
island.
New
The
York
other one.
City right now, bro.
Oh well. Then you're competing with 4 trillion other people for that bandwidth. So I take it back. You've gone from the sinking island to the Thunderdome, to the Internet Thunderdome. Yeah, no, I can tell you exactly why.
Yeah.
We've got this loaf of bread. We're going to spread this loaf of bread among 4
time, dude.
trillion
It
of you, and somehow this is going to work out great. I'm sure. So I think we're going to take you somewhere different. We're going to take you to next week in Destiny.
Yes.
Are we? No, but
to the future.
No, but before we do that, we have to say hello who we are.
Oh, do the people not know?
Some people might know. Some people might not know.
That's true.
Some people might have just come and found us and been recommended that they listen to us.
Some people may desperately be trying to listen on Spotify, and maybe Spotify has the episode, and maybe they don't. They do what they want, but they have audiobooks now, so that's something for them.
But people that do listen to us, especially like the Bad Juju over on Podbean, sent us a lovely comment this week. Yeah. He says he loves the commitment to the pirate voices, but he just can't. But he loves the show, though. So this week, no pirate voices for you. That's it.
Oh.
We've been told off by one person, and that's it. We bow to that one person.
Avast ye, and welcome to Two Titans and a Destiny 2 podcast. Dedicating bringing you all the latest information, news, and opinions. This is the best show for new and veteran pirates alike, where we share tips, tricks, and tools to help you succeed and enjoy hornswoggling your booty even more. So with all that said, let me introduce you to me ragtag crew. The scurvy seadog Peroty, the son of a biscuit eater no one respawns in real life, and me, your captain, for this treacherous voyage, Nitedemon. Arr!
So let's see, keeping with last week's theme, so Respawn is now the Northern American. Okay. That's known Respawn in real life over there. I am now become the de facto Southern American Peroty. And then we have our very far Eastern American Nitedemon. Over there, so far east, he's over in the UK.
No, that's not right. That's not.
No, that's deep Southern American.
I can't think of anything American.
There's nothing American. It's fine. We don't have things. All the things we have, we just stole from you all. So it's
hi, y'all. They are. That's something. Hi, y'all. Y'all.
Perfect. Nailed it.
Hi,
Perfect.
y'all.
10 out of 10. No notes.
Howdy doody. Just try to talk like John Wayne. You'll be all right.
What does John Wayne talk like?
Oh my God! I thought he was famous enough for you to know.
How many John Wayne movies do you think Mr. Nitedemon has seen, sir? I'll say
John Wayne is a very famous cowboy action hero that I'm sure is known around the world. Hell, even the French emulate him whenever they come to America.
I am not saying that I haven't heard of John Wayne, and I'm not saying that my mother-in-law is a great fan of John Wayne, and you walk into the house and it's covered with John Wayne. But what I'm saying is that sounds nothing like John Wayne. From my experience of being forced to watch The Searchers, True Grit.
Well, by all means, sir, please.
Of the ones that are there. Well, no, I can't do a John Wayne accent. But this man that's just popped in next to us might be able to do a John Wayne accent.
I bet he has an impeccable John Wayne accent.
Is that you, John Wayne?
Perfect. Nailed it. We'll fix it in post.
See, that sounded more John Wayne than your John Wayne. Why are we doing John Wayne? Why are we doing cowboys
Why did you
I've
start
got no
it?
idea. I've just got here.
No, I'm asking them, not you.
Why do
Respawn
we
wanted us to
why do we do anything?
You started with the whole y'all thing. Why are you asking us?
No, I was just one thing. I was just saying one thing. I did not need to go into being John Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Friday and it's not 2027. We don't ask why questions.
Because the answer is always why not.
Well, we'll just get on with the show then.
Yeah.
I suppose we should also introduce this man from the Mist, the mystery, the legend, Mr. Not
Yeah,
Arf.
he's been gone long enough for people to forget who he was.
I almost forgot who he was. He said somebody popped into the chat, and I was like, it's a 50-50 shot. It could be anybody at this point.
I still don't know who he is. I thought it was Arf, but apparently it's not.
It's not Arf.
So from time to time, we are joined by Not Arf, who has joined us today to give us some lore. And that is, what is lore, Respawn? Explain to people what the lore is.
Lore is what happens behind the scenes that moves the story in place that in ways that you don't know, right? Like, for example, Crow's lore would be that he used to be an actual Awoken before he was a Guardian, and he is responsible for the death of one of our Vanguard, and before that, he was actually helping us achieve things. He was a member of the Reef, which is basically the Awoken City, and he was helping us get to the Black Garden, and lots of things. He's a prince, was a prince actually, not anymore. So I mean, a lore is kind of a backstory or a sequence of events that you don't know necessarily, but yet the story moves forward with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think literally every piece of armor and every weapon that we have in the game, there is a lore tab to it that gives you a bit of story on something.
And the ships and the
ships, sparrows, yeah, all the stuff. And it is nicely categorized and collected over at Ishtar Collective. And we will drop that into our show notes if you do want to kind of have a look at that and follow along. But I guess it's over to Not Arf for some Not Arf Ask lore.
Let me ask you this.
Me or him?
Who? Well, you all.
Okay.
Well, we already spoke about this on
Y'all.
Wednesday, but
Y'all.
no, I actually said that as 2 words, not a single word.
No, but I said it as y'all
Yeah,
earlier.
we're bringing it full circle.
Yeah.
You all is not 2 words. It's 1 word. It's hyphenated. That's how it works.
Damn it.
I knew I came up with that for a reason.
Do you know who Nezarec is?
Yes.
I do now.
Yeah, I have a much more intimate understanding of Nezarec and all of his worldly belongings and other things.
And his sins.
Mm-hmm. Sins, robes.
But do you know who Nezarec is?
Yes, it's Misrax.
No, it's not.
Lies.
Right, so let's start with Nezarec's sin. It's a warlock helm. He is that which is an end, and he shall rise again. Passage of Hated Nezarec, a pre-Golden Age text. Now that is an important point there. You've got to remember this is pre-Golden Age this text is from.
So where are we talking roughly in the timeline of...
Before the collapse.
Okay.
Before the collapse, maybe around the time we were discovering the Traveller.
Okay. So
because we only entered the Golden Age after the Traveller came into the system.
Okay. So the Traveller hadn't kind of got here just yet.
Well, it might have just got here.
Okay.
He is that which is end, that which covets sin, the final god of pain, the purest light, the darkest hour, and he shall rise again. When the guiding shine fades and all seems lost, he will call to you. Fear not. All he offers is not as dark as it may seem, for Nezarec is no demon, but a fiend, arch and vile in ways unknown. He is a path and a way, one of many, and his sin, so wicked, so divine, is that he will never cower when dusk does fall, but stand vigilant as old stars die. And new light blinks its first upon this fetid eternity. passage of hated Nezarec. Now, for the longest time, this is what we had about Nezarec. This was the only mention right up until A Drifter's Gambit came out. And then it's mentioned in there a passage that the Drifter had visited the fourth tomb of Nezarec. Or Nezarec.
Yeah.
Everyone will say it their own way. But who is Nezarec?
Now, I just assumed, stupid blind assumption, that normally when we have exotics and things, they are exotics from like Guardians, like the Helm of Saint 14, Nezarec Sin. I assumed that it was a Guardian, and it wasn't until you and me were talking this week and you told me about some gauntlets for the hunters, was it? That are like fallen ones or crafted from not Misrax, it's Aramis's partner. You were telling me? I can't remember
No, that was the Helm of Baccharis. So you were talking about there, which is that the Helm of Baccharis was Aramis's husband.
That was it.
Or partner. I don't know if they marry in Elixir.
Yeah, so I just, as I was saying, I just assume that normally when we get an exotic, it's always come from like a Guardian or it's part of a Guardian. I never thought that it could be an alien species or Nezarec could be an alien species until we were talking earlier on in the week.
But let me ask you again, who is Nezarec?
He's a previous witness. No, a previous disciple of the
I don't
witness.
think he's a
That's what I meant.
witness. He's a disciple of the witness. Now,
Yeah.
I know what you're going to ask. How do we know this?
Well, we know it this week because there's a cutscene that tells the story from one side of the story.
Well, many of you will actually have been in Nezarec's ship recently. And there is
The one on the moon.
section of that ship called the Chantry of Nezarec.
Okay.
So a chantry, basically it's part of a church. So it's almost like a church of Nezarec, or where he holds a private mass. Now, do you know which ship this was in?
That's the pyramid ship on the moon, right?
It is. So,
Yeah.
looking at that, and if he has a portion of his ship named after him, chances are that ship belonged to Nezarec.
Mm-hmm.
It's haunted?
Now, it's already...
No,
he was a disciple. That was his ship to command. Because we know the other disciples that we know of, Rulk, his ship is in the throne world.
Mm-hmm.
Is in Savathun's throne world. But then we know Rulk was trapped on there. So what happened to Nezarec? He's obviously done something which is obviously his sin. But where is Nezarec?
Well, I would have said that he's still
hold
on
on.
the
Yeah, I
ship,
wouldn't say that that's his sin, because
he hasn't
his
said what
body
his sin is.
his body was chopped up and created into artifacts. An artifact could have been called Nezarec's sin and have nothing to do with the sin that he created. It could just been a cool name they gave.
But he's got to have done something to the witness, or
something to fall out of favor.
Well, look at the word sin in general. What does that mean? It means something that's against the religion or the cult.
Yeah.
That's against. So he's done something to the witness. He's either done a crime or he's betrayed the witness, and the witness has then gone, "You're no longer a disciple. Chop, chop, chop. Out you go."
Did he
Now,
chop, or did?
Well,
or was that?
That's more going into my theory.
Okay. Because from the cutscene this week in the story, it looks like
a finger.
Well, no, it looks like he was. Somebody found his body and cut him up. Not.
Yes. Well, did they find his body or did they cut him up? He was gifted, from what it says in that cutscene. Misrax was gifted, or was it passed down in almost like a last will and testament, a dark artifact, which to me looked like a finger or a claw.
Yeah, from the body of Nezarec.
Exactly. So if we're saying the dark artifacts a part of Nezarec's body, and Nezarec was a disciple of the witness, do you think it's a great idea that we're putting them all together and bringing them all back together?
Hell yeah, it is.
You've only made good decisions up to this point. I don't see what can go wrong.
No. Because backtracking to what
No.
Arf was already trying to tell us. Right?
Backtracking already, we've made some horrendous decisions.
No.
Exactly.
I mean, yes, we have, but we're not talking about that right now. Okay, so back to what you said about the sin, right? He has done something egregious to somebody, right? Whether it be the witness or whatever, right? Because, if he hadn't done something egregious to the witness, then why would Rolk have come after the fact, right? Obviously, he's failed to do his thing.
Rolk didn't come after the fact. Rolk was supposed to be training Savathun to be a disciple.
And yet here he is.
So
no, here he isn't.
Is there only one disciple at a time? Like, is there a progression from Nezarec to?
Let's go back to the end of the Red War.
The cant has been vaulted.
But I didn't finish my point.
No. My point is, you go back to the beginning of the Red War, and the Traveller frees itself from the Starfish of Death, and you get that blast of light that goes out into the cosmos.
And wakes up the dark ships, the pyramid ships.
The dark ships.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
So we know there's more than one.
Yeah.
Rook commanded one.
Yeah.
Nezarec commanded one.
Are we sure Nezarec commanded one?
Well, we're pretty sure Nezarec commanded one.
Okay.
I mean, there's a part of the ship named after him.
Which, if normally, if there's a part of a ship named after you, it was your ship.
I've got a couple of questions for you, Arf. So, when we did Shadowkeep and we went to the pyramid ship on the moon, did we see it there? Like, did it come up as we were walking through that was the name of the area that we were walking through, and we all just completely missed it? I say all
I believe
of us
so.
completely missed it. Some of us.
From what I remember, I believe we did actually go through that, and everybody missed it.
Okay. Second question is, so how do we not know that the pyramid ships are just a fleet of ships commanded by, like we have in like the Navy at the moment, we have one commander of, an admiral of the fleet. So who's to say that Rourke was not the admiral of a fleet of ships, but his ship, his fleet ship, was captured and put in the throne world? And the same with Nezarec. Who's to say that he wasn't the admiral beforehand and he did something wrong and him and his ship was entombed in the moon? Who's to say that there are many, as we've seen with Lightfall coming up, who's to say
Bungie say.
Yeah, who's to say that Callus isn't the admiral of the entire fleet at that point for the witness? If you see the logic there are millions of these ships out there that we've seen in lots of cutscenes, lots of kind of war mind things on the wall showing us all these ships flying towards our solar system.
Right.
But do they all have a similar entity like the witness, like Nezarec, like Callus, all on board? They're one singularity of enemy.
Let's look at the final shape. We know from what the witness and the disciples do, they like to hone, and in the law on Rourke itself, they like to hone a species to a pinnacle.
Yes.
Now, in Rourke's case, that is him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Nezarec's body looks like Rourke from what we saw.
But there is no other. When the witness took Rourke to be a disciple, there was none of his species left. So he is the final shape
I've got another
of
question,
that species.
I've got another question, sir.
1 second. Just wait till I finish. No interruptions, please. So I'm guessing because this whole final shape thing and the sword, what was taught to the hive of the sword logic, only the strong survive, that each species that the witness has encountered is then honed into this end shape, and that end shape then becomes, or that singular species or singular individual then becomes a disciple and gets gifted with power. Just as Callus is. Now Callus is going all out to actually destroy us now. Well, he will be in the next yearly expansion.
That's my question, is that he hasn't been as a species, his species hasn't been completely wiped out, and he's the only one. It looks like from the trailer that we are fighting him and other versions of a Cabal army. So
Well, you say it's a Cabal army,
how does that work?
but we already know from the previous system, these clones that we're fighting, and I call them clones.
Okay.
Who are they clones of?
No idea.
Callus.
Mini Calluses.
Yeah.
No, but we fought the robot Calluses. They didn't look like that. And the other thing is with Lightfall.
And another thing.
And another thing, I want to pick a hole in with you, Bungie.
One
person
more
here.
thing.
Yes. No, but we've now seen somebody that looks very similar to Rourke coming with Callus to fight against us as a pyramid ship kind of fighter. I know, I get it. You know, Bungie need to throw a few more things in there to kind of make it look really cool, and it does look really cool.
I know the ones you mean. It's possible that the Witness almost as he's created almost like they create the Taken. This is almost like creating another being that suppresses light.
Could they be mini?
And he just Well, it's possible that he's created them in Rourke's image.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll accept that. Thank you.
But we already know within the lore that Rourke is the last member of his species.
Okay, but Callus
and
won't
that's
be.
canon.
But
no, Callus won't be. But
that's what I'm not.
But they are trying to destroy the Traveller and destroy everything else in this solar system. So that means actually taking one of us, or a human, potentially an Awoken. Because we already know Mara. I believe we are aware that Mara's been wanted. He wanted Mara to be a witness, or a disciple.
Did we? Hands up who knew that.
I believe so. I'm sure I heard that or read that somewhere.
Well, we didn't know that. Respawn, did you know that, Peroty?
I'm not surprised. Mara is just desirable no matter where you go.
I volunteered to be a disciple. I'm an exo.
I mean, can I be Mara's disciple?
Technically, the exos are made out of darkness as well. So
perfect. Already halfway there.
Because they are made out of Vex mind fluid that's been corrupted through a dark artifact. Well, not a dark artifact, but the pyramid ship.
Vex
they got
magic?
was it No, it's not Vex magic. It's actually darkness. They've been corrupted. The Vex mind fluid is changed by the darkness, and then it become their own little milkshake that makes makes exos.
Yeah, chocolate milk becomes exos. Got it.
Oh my god. And there's no Vex magic. Vex use tech, dude.
Right. The Vex milk becomes Vex chocolate milk when it's introduced to the darkness, and then we use it to make exos.
No, but exos still have the white fluid coming out of them, though.
So vanilla milkshakes. Got it.
Could be banana.
So, Arf, you've told us about one armor piece from Nezarec. There is also a glaive that was introduced.
But hold on, no. I've been waiting for him
to
finish. Stop.
Nezarec's name on
I've been waiting for him to finish so I can say my point. You had your point, Demon. Shush. Shush. Shush.
I might not be shushing.
Shush.
You shush.
You shush. It's my turn. All right. So going way back, right? Talking about is it a good idea to bring this stuff together? I say yes, because if Nezarec's sin was intentionally violating the orders or the teachings of the witness, then yeah, maybe it is a good idea to bring that stuff on our side. For all we know, that's how we get our abilities in the next season. You know, those artifacts might have a direct relation to how we get our abilities next season, dude.
It's possible.
Which abilities are we talking about?
He's talking about Strand.
That is actually a fair point. Well done, Respawn. 10 points to you.
Booyah!
Don't give him points. Why didn't I get any points?
I already gave you points in the stream.
Because the game's made up and the points don't matter. So you can have as many points as you want.
So, going on to my point about the glaive, the weapon that was introduced last season.
I'm just bringing that up now. Nezarec's Whisper.
Yes. Please tell us about that and how that ties in.
Nezarec's Whisper, glaive. Rise, disciple, and bear this gift with pride. Rulk, disciple of the witness. There we go. There's confirmation. Rulk made Nezarec a disciple of the Witness.
Oh.
So hang on. Rourke's got the power to make anybody he fancies
I don't know.
a disciple.
I'll screenshot this for you and I'll drop it in the chat.
No, I've got it up on my screen. I'm looking at the law as we speak.
Oh, for the other two, then.
So Rourke, by the sounds of it, then is like
Well,
he is the admiral of the fleet.
he
and
was.
He's going,
He's
"Right, I'm
he's the
gonna-
admiral of the fleet. Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna-
that goes back. Makes your other point null and void, saying that Nezarec was possibly an old admiral before Rourke. We know that's not true now with that.
Okay. But he could be a sub admiral. What's below an admiral? No idea. But whatever's below an
Commodore.
admiral, huh?
Commodore, yeah.
There you go. He's the Commodore.
Okay. So Roll runs the show, so he's got the power to
You
make
you have
Nezarec break,
the witness is the
break structure down to be like
president.
I'm 5.
You- okay. The witness is the president.
Yeah.
Rourke is the admiral.
Yeah.
And then he has several vice admirals and commodores and captains under that.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
Now, so we know Nezarec is somewhere between a captain and a vice admiral. Chances are it's just a captain,
Okay.
almost, because he only had one ship.
Yeah, so under Rolk, but unclear exactly where under Rolk.
Yes, but we know he's captain grade almost. He's got his own ship.
So a quick question about glaives as a whole. Are these the weapons of our enemy,
Rourke.
basically? Of Rourke?
No, they are the weapons of Rourke's people.
Okay.
That's why Rourke gave that Nezarec's whisper to Nezarec.
Yes, but we also have the other three that are exotic. I've only got the Titan one called the Edge of Action at the moment. So I was just wondering about that. And then we've got the other one that we can craft, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but you know what I
The
mean. There's-
exotic one?
We got Lubre's Ruin.
Yes. No, the Enigma was the first one that we got, wasn't it? Through going through the pyramid
Yes.
shit. No, not the pyramid. No, just going through the throne world. We found the parts of it, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
So these all tie back to the witness and the darkness, and
Yes.
So
No, the
should we
Nezarec-
so should we
the
not be running
glaive-
around with glaives? Is using the glaives?
A weapon's a weapon. They work well.
Fair point.
But yeah, so that gives us the fact was if we bring all these dark artifacts together and we gather all of them,
Yeah.
will that bring back Nezarec?
do we need to put
No.
we need to put the Nezarec helmet with them and the little tooth that we saw, or the nail that we saw that Misrax is carrying around? Do we still think Misrax has got that nail? Or do
No,
we-
no. I'm pretty certain Mithrax has already got rid of that or knows where it is.
Okay, so that could be the final piece, like the key to unlocking everything.
Going by that cutscene, the dark artifact made Mithrax do some pretty dark stuff.
So we're gathering dark artifacts.
Yep.
So we could potentially do some pretty nasty things. Or do you think we're above that now?
Well,
Well, we're
We
learning
are-
how to
did-
wield the darkness in our favor, right? Currently, we use darkness and we haven't been corrupted by it.
That we know of.
you could say that, but then you've got to look at the fact that Mithrax had that on a necklace. It was on him 24/7.
Like the Ring of Power. Oh, I see. He
Yes.
was like Frodo. No, he was more like Gollum. Yeah.
Ring of Power,
Um,
Eagle Crown.
But we are dumping, or not dumping. We are placing the artifacts in the helm on that table.
Yeah, because we know from like past experience, the helm doesn't get corrupted by anything at all.
Well, it does get a little corrupted, and then they get the old sweeper bot out, and he seems to just get rid of like the egregore and just sweep it out into space.
Yeah.
Because he's done a cracking job around the Crown of Sorrows.
Airlock fixes a lot of things.
But yeah, now we're pretty sure. Well, I'm pretty sure this is going to happen. I said is bringing Nezarec back a good thing?
Yes.
Respawn,
Why?
Yes.
Well, same reason I told you guys before, man. So these guys don't just die, right?
Yep.
Nezarec was killed.
Mm-hmm.
Are we
He was
sure he was
killed
killed and he just
For
wasn't?
a reason.
He wasn't just
That reason, if
deep
you want to roll the
slumber and
dice,
got
is
cut up.
probably because he did something that was unfavorable to the witness that could be considered as being favorable to us. Now,
Let's think of something we can bring back from the dead. Say, like a vampire. How many
or
bits
like
of
a
things where
guardian.
you've got a... Yeah, but what does even a guardian do when you bring him back? Or comes back from the dead?
He runs the trials of Osiris.
Well, no. If your guardian's just been killed by, say, a herd of thrall, and you
Sure.
bring him back,
Yep.
what's the first thing it does?
Continues killing the thralls.
Murders everything in that room.
Mhm.
Only because it was killing us.
Yes, but once you're dead and you are brought back, you don't know. You think you could have just been come straight back after they killed you in the darkness. So you could think the same people who are murdering you are still there, and you're going to kill everybody in that room, and then go on to murder the galaxy.
Swooperbot in there with the pieces and have Swooperbot put them back together.
He's just going to smack them around the head with his brush.
Well, I mean, whatever. I mean, I
They
think
could make that an
Swooperbot
exotic
is
weapon.
obviously immortal, right? He's been through like 3 destructions of 3 different cities, and he is still just sweeping away, man. So if there was,
He's going to be like.
that would be.
You're going to say he's going to be like Trigger's broom, aren't you?
He doesn't know what that means.
I don't.
Oh, yeah, of course. They don't know what Trigger's broom. I've had the same broom for 23 years. It said 3 heads, 4 handles, and it's still doing me fine.
It's not the same broom.
So the broom of Theseus?
That's what I mean. It's Trigger's broom.
Yeah.
Only fools and
Anyway.
horses.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. The
It's a
point
TV
is,
show in Britain.
the point is, I still think it's a good idea, and we are making the assumption that bringing these artifacts together is going to resurrect him. That probably isn't going to happen at all, because people don't just magically resurrect in the game aside from guardians, right? Or people that get robotic implants that help them come back to life or whatever, right? I mean,
Hang on. One name for you, Mara Sov.
she never died.
He was taken.
She was taken on purpose.
Taken. And how many people have been taken and never come back?
Because we've killed them. We didn't kill Mara, right?
Oh, another thing that's annoying me, just while I remember about it.
What's that?
You know the exotic armor piece that has been disabled?
Which one?
No.
The Griffalcon, the Hunter one, the Hunter chess piece?
It's not Griffalcon, it's Geofalcon.
You're upsetting
know how
me,
to-
Peroty.
I didn't know what it was called. It has a bird in the name. It gives me quests
It's
in
a
the tower.
Geofalcon. So many people
So
are
yes,
saying this wrong.
underlined.
It's annoying. It's a Geofalcon.
If there's anything that Destiny should have taught you, is that no one can read. I learned this in Destiny 1 because nobody reads. No one reads.
Not then. No, the problem is
Words and letters are hard.
even if we do read, you can't read what they write, because they'll throw a word in a bucket like falcon, and then throw a bunch of other letters in another bucket, and they'll put like, okay, what word's coming out of this hat? Haha, falcon. What letters are coming out of this one? Z, G, F, Y, R, Q, Z. Cool. How can we put all these together?
Yeah, but no, I guarantee you that comes from somewhere in mythology somewhere.
Oh yeah, probably.
Like
The
Bungie doesn't-
Geofalcon is a real bird.
What?
Well, there you go then. Yeah, like Bungie doesn't pull things out of the air. Like these are real things. They do need to come with a pronunciation guide. I basically wait until someone on YouTube says it, and I go, "That's how I'm pronouncing this now." Until someone tells me I'm wrong.
You
Half
can't
is
even
telling us we're
ask
wrong.
Google how to say it, because
Yep.
Google doesn't know.
So Geofalcon. I don't know. I honestly, it's a chess piece I'll never have and never use. So I don't care what it's called. I just know that
The
it's disabled.
Geofalcon, the largest of the falcon species, is a bird of prey. The abbreviated Geo is also used. It breeds on Arctic coast and tundra
Okay,
in the islands of North America and the hey.
That's a Griffalcon.
That's a
And this has to
how's
do
it
with
Griffalcon? It's GY. There's no R after the G.
It doesn't matter.
and
It does.
This has to do with the chess piece being disabled in the game Why?
Because people can't say its name properly, so they've disabled it until enough people can actually say it properly.
You know, that could very well be a community challenge that Bungie will tell us about 6 weeks from now.
It was giving
Yeah, didn't you know
damage.
about it? Didn't
I
you
thought
know
they
about it,
nerfed
community?
it, but it was giving extra damage after you break invisibility.
We're sure that we told you, community, that this is what was going on.
Yeah. There's a community challenge. If 80% of the podcast pronounce it correctly, we'll give it back to you.
Yeah.
And until then, you don't get to have it. There's a community challenge going on. We're at 25%, and we've never told you about any part of this, but just expect you to understand it.
Yeah.
Welcome to Bungie Challenges.
Anyway, away from that tangent, Nezarec.
Yes.
Sorry, I did a respawn.
So Nezarec would not be wearing this chess piece, though.
No.
Well, he might be allowed to. He might be the only one allowed to, because he can say it.
So how does Nezarec's sin, the helmet for the warlocks, tie in with him? And if you can't answer this, we're gonna have to kick you off the show. This is a very important question. Was it his helmet, or was there a part of him in the helmet?
It's
And if
his
there is a
head.
part of him-
The helmet is just his head.
Well, this is saying that the actual Nezarec is a pre-Golden Age text. So if they knew about Nezarec pre-Golden Age, that means he was about either just before or while the Traveller was coming into the system.
So they knew about Nezarec before the Traveller came in, and they knew about him being on the pyramid ship trapped on the moon.
Well, I don't know if they knew about the pyramid ship, but it could have been one of these religions that start.
Yeah, I think he was a creature of lore, at least. Like there was a character named Nezarec who is out there in the world. We don't know where he is or what he's up to, but this is a person that exists in the world.
Oh,
Well, let me
hold
read you the
answer you
first
guys'
couple of lines out
question.
of this again.
To answer your question real quick, it's disabled. My hunter exotic has been disabled because it makes Titans invincible.
Yeah, we covered that like 2 weeks ago.
Well, then why'd you ask why it was disabled?
We didn't.
I said
Somebody did.
I said, what does this have to do with? Why doesn't Nezarec wear it? And what does this have to do with Nezarec?
Man, whatever.
Technically, that's got nothing to do with Nezarec. That was just really annoying me.
Fair point.
Lore tangent.
The first few lines of this actually, he is that which's end. Yeah. That which covers sin, the final god of pain. So they are treating in this text. They're treating him as they're saying he's a god. Now, what you can see as a god is a being of power, be it technological power or something like that they didn't understand and they believe is magic. So they say he's a god that can do magic.
Right, God from the perspective of again the pre-Golden Age people writing this text.
Yeah. Now, the next bit I find interesting: the purest light, the darkest hour.
No, it's the next bit I see as interesting.
Yeah, well, that's the bit I want to come to.
Okay.
But I've just actually read this, and something's just clicked in my head.
Oh.
So he comes to you in your darkest hours.
Remember can you remember Shin Melfur?
I can remember you saying his name several times.
Yeah. Well, he was almost trying to find a guardian that could wield the dark and the light in balance.
Yep, that's what we do. We're rocking that.
And become more powerful, because we are the only guardian that Shin Melfur. I say we as a general thing because we are supposed to be the only one, but there's hundreds of us, or millions of us in this case.
Yeah.
That can wield the last word, Thorn, and Lumina, and what's the other one called? The one we got from Gambit when the meatball dropped. Malfeasance. So we're the only people that can actually wield those weapons in balance at the same time. Well, not at the same time, but we can hold them in our inventories at the same time. Nobody else could do that because they weren't worthy. So if it's the purest of light and the darkest hour, would that mean Nezarec has then realized his mistake by going over to joining the dark side? and then has realized, and he's actually managed to hold the light and dark in balance, and then become an enemy. That was maybe his sin for embracing the light as well.
That's only if the witness then decides that the light people are bad. And
Well, he's already
everyone has-
decided that because he's trying to actually defeat the Traveler, which is the main source of the light.
Okay, but then didn't he want us to become one of his new recruits? And at that
But
point,
we'd then turn to the darkness.
okay, so we would then, relinquish the light.
to his plan.
Remember your defeat in the cave, Luke.
Okay.
Am I the only one that gets that reference?
No, we
No.
get it's a Star Trek, Star
Okay.
Wars reference, but yeah.
No, Star
Star
Trek. Let's
Trek.
go with Star Trek. Yeah.
I stumbled. Shush! I
You
fixed
fell
it.
down,
I
hit your
fixed
head,
it.
and we couldn't get you back
I
up.
fixed it.
Gandalf
Not
from
really.
Star Trek said it on Deep Space
Yeah.
Nine, obviously. You're a
Well,
wizard.
Deep Space Nine is in Star Trek. Gandalf from Deep Space Nine said it in Hogwarts.
Oh, shut up. Go on with the
There we
damn
go.
thing you were asking.
And then that takes us into the next line. And he shall rise again.
He being Nezarec.
Yes.
Okay. Still,
Now,
I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's necessarily a bad
once there is also the possibility, and we did discuss this on me and Damon did actually discuss this on Wednesday, but he could be leading us in to the next DLC.
thing. Yeah.
There is a good chance that Nezarec helps us find Strand. Now, if I'm right with that, makes more sense now reading those two lines, the purest light and the darkest hour. Now, if he's found full balance there, he wouldn't just be wielding stasis. It'd be more like a strand where he's actually pulling the strands of the universe.
Called it. Booyah.
Well, me and Demon actually called it on Wednesday. That was like 3 days ago.
So Nezarec comes back, former fallen disciple, maybe?
Why would it be fallen?
No, fallen as
No, sorry, fallen not in the alien Elixir race, fallen in the you cross me and now you're no longer a disciple way.
Ah,
Ex-
okay.
Mhm.
Ex-
Fallen from grace.
Yes,
Yeah.
ex-disciple.
Gotcha.
So he comes back and not so happy about how things went down, and is like, "Hey, we're gonna exact revenge. We're gonna share the strand around. I found this strand. I'm gonna share it with people. You're not worthy anymore, disciples. So I'm gonna give it to my new friends,
Now-
guardians."
Yeah.
While if he does come back, while he could be evil, I think it's more likely he's wanting revenge against the witness. So he teaches us to use Strand, and he'll become a future big bad later on. Or the other one we discussed was potentially we are due another dungeon.
yes, we are.
So he could be a Savathun-like character of maybe you're on our
He
side, maybe
could
you're
be the
not.
mini boss. He could be the boss of the new dungeon.
Hmm.
Bearing in mind, we are. Disclaimer: we are working on. I've always said this. This may be this is theory crafting at its best, and we are making some big jumps. Now, these jumps at the minute
When
do
you
make
say
sense.
we, are you talking about us four, or are you talking
Well,
about you and the Lord
so
community?
the demon, you put me onto some of these when we were speaking on Wednesday, which made more sense.
Okay.
So this could be all speculation and come to naught, but that's half the fun of the theory crafting is actually seeing if you're right or not. But it would make sense, and then we'd have the big bad for the next dungeon, because I can't see Aramis being the next dungeon boss.
Mhm.
Aramis is too big a character.
Yeah, and why bring him back just to get rid of her again?
But I mean, did they really bring her back though? I mean, hold on, because you're like, why would they bring her back only for us to dispose of her again? We
In story
didn't
beats.
dispose of her the first time. She did it to herself.
You
know?
freeze yourself and see how long you last.
But we're human. She's not, right?
Right.
And
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't
yeah,
technically ice. It was darkness that just takes the form of. It happens to have properties of ice, right? But it's darkness that she wielded. You know.
Right.
You encase yourself in dark crystals then and see how long you last.
Well, obviously she lasted long enough, so that's not the point. The point is we
No,
didn't
hang
do
on,
it.
hang
to her.
on.
She did it to herself.
They say in law she was resurrected by the witness.
Where?
because she's been instructed by the witness to gather the dark artifacts.
Okay. All right. So even then, okay. So the witness brings her back. I don't know how, but okay. So he brings her back. We would
Witness
still
magic.
need to take her out so she stops gathering these. So she gathers the dark artifacts.
Well, so far
Nezarec
she's
comes
not
back.
gathered one.
Well, I'm saying if that's her purpose is to gather them, let's jump forward and say, okay, she gathers them all. She's still got to be taken out, you know.
But
So
she's
yeah,
not actually. I mean, how much effort have you actually seen her put into gathering these artifacts?
we've only seen her pop out of the ice, dude.
Yeah, we've not seen her once. We're the only ones gathering these artifacts. We're the only ones keeping them all together.
We're not
on
even
our
gathering
helm.
these artifacts.
What do you see on the helm then?
I've gathered 4 of them. I put them in
Yeah.
a nice little table on the helm.
Oh,
just
that's
so
that's
someone
those
can-
artifacts. Okay.
Yes.
Just
All right.
just so someone can swipe in and steal them at the last second. I've
Exactly,
seen how
you
this
know.
goes down. She's gonna befriend us and be like, "Oh, let me come see your cool artifacts," and then yoink, there go your artifacts. I've seen how this works.
It's very Dragon Ball Z. Let somebody else collect the
How
Dragon
this is
Balls.
going to
and then
go
you steal
down.
them.
Well, technically, she didn't actually do herself. The way I actually saw that cutscene is the darkness in her, the darkness of the darkness almost betrayed her because it saw she was being defeated.
Yeah, but she couldn't control it to begin with, because even before we even met her, her arm had frozen. Remember, and she had to hit the arm on the thing to break the ice off her arm, right? So she couldn't control it to begin with. So she was tapping into an energy source that she had no idea how to wield. And so when she tried to tap into more of it during our last battle, she froze herself. You know?
Did she freeze herself, or did she actually get betrayed by it?
Yeah, lose control entirely. Because yeah, if she's fighting for control,
Either way, it's the
it-
same
it
result.
takes
We
some-
didn't do it, you know, due to her actions.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
We didn't freeze her. It was either the dark, like you said, like the darkness. She lost control of it,
Right.
or I like to think more like the darkness then betrayed her.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, due to her own
self-inflicted in some
actions
way.
because she couldn't do what she needed to do. Okay, fair enough. But in the end, the result is the same. We didn't freeze her, right? So she breaks out of the ice, or the witness breaks her out of the ice. However, that works out. And her mission is to gather all the artifacts. Well, yeah, Bungie would absolutely bring her back for us to actually kill her because we didn't kill her last time. You know, she was turned into a statue for a bit. So yeah, we need to take her ass out this time. You know what I mean, bruh?
So, being resurrected by the witness to undertake going and getting these artifacts for the witness, what has the witness promised Aramis in return for actually getting hold of these or making the Guardian get hold of these? Do you think that this is because Aramis isn't really making too much of an effort to actually gather any of these pieces? We seem to be the ones going in and gathering all the pieces, doing all the legwork, and we're going to put them all in the helm, and they're just going to sit there all nice and neatly. Now,
Which is why it's believed that Aramis is going to actually betray the witness.
so you think Aramis is going to betray the witness, or do you think Aramis is going to try and grab all the artifacts together when they are together, take them away like you
Or-
said, perform a ritual, and Nezarec comes back together, and unfortunately for poor old Aramis, she's in the same room as Nezarec, and he takes out his vengeance on her, maybe.
Possibly, but I think it's more likely we get down to the last weekly mission,
Yeah.
fighting Aramis for the last dark artifact, which she will already possess, and then she switches sides.
Because you've also got to think there is another.
Use the pun, but I think she'll see the light.
There's
Ah.
also another player that I think you'll find that out in week 3, that we go into one of these Lost Sector refreshes to go and get one of these artifacts, and a lot of enemies that we should have taken out are already dead before we get to the main boss. And we tell Aramis this week that there's another player on the board, and it doesn't seem to kind of phase her as much. Just so that might throw some kind of confusion into what's actually happening with lore-wise. With is there another is there another player,
what
or is it part
if-
of the Drifters plan and Spiders plan?
Well, what if, just to put another spin on this,
Yeah.
what if Nezarec isn't dead?
And that would have really hurt when they cut him apart.
Well, no. They've just stripped him of or stripped Nezarec of power.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Nezarec's power that are the dark artifacts.
And Nezarec's trying to get them back together to
getting his power back.
Get his power back. Good.
And he is the third player.
Very
that's a possibility, but I'm not saying it's true. That's just come up with on the spot.
Yeah. But what do you think that Eramis has been promised? Do you think Eramis has been told that she could wield the darkness and become a disciple for the witness?
Well, it's been widely believed that Eramis was supposed to be the witness or the disciple of the pyramid on Europa.
Okay, because there doesn't seem to be a leader on there, does there?
No. But that's not been confirmed.
Okay. But so where is the leader from the pyramid on Europa? We need to
Everyone's following him.
Who?
I don't know. Literally, I don't know. It could until we actually properly get into that pyramid, because we know that Clovis. It could be Clovis's pyramid.
Okay.
Because he was trying. Clovis Bray.
Celestos pyramid.
It could be Tanix's ship for all we know.
Oh no! No!
Bring him back again, please.
No!
You know you want another Tanix fight.
Technically, Tanix could come back again.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Because we've only just defeated Tanix 1. Because everyone seems to forget that Tanix and Atrax made Tanix into an Exo.
Yes.
So Tanix's brain scan is still in the Deep Stone Crypt.
Maybe he's the next boss of the dungeon. Maybe there's just many bosses of Tanix. You have to fight Tanix 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you get to the final one, Tanix 10, and there's just room for Tanixes.
There is a slight flaw to this. Isn't the Deep Stone Crypt partially on the orbital space station that we crashed into the planet?
I don't know. You tell me.
Yes, it is. We crashed it, dude.
Yeah, but it's a deep stone crypt, and it's made of stone. It'll be fine.
Yes,
it's deep in some stone right now. I'll tell you that.
But the fact is that Tanix's brain scan is still there.
So is Cade.
Because we know. Yeah, but it wouldn't be our. Been through this.
I know.
Been through this so many times.
I just wanted to stir the pot.
And you're going to go through it again, and you're going to like it. The beatings will continue until morale improves. That's how this pirate ship works.
We would get a copy of Cade that was pre-Guardian Cade.
Okay. He still sounded like a good guy.
I don't know.
Cade's always been about himself, my dude. Did you not listen to all of his?
No. He loved Maya Sundaresh.
Yeah, but he still was he was a thief, dude. He was absolutely a thief and a rogue. You know?
Yeah.
He lost that to become Vanguard. Remember?
Well, don't forget, he was massively in debt with Clovis Bray and Braytech. That's why he ended up working for him.
Yeah, he had to pay for his exo modification, right? So, yeah.
No. He didn't have to pay for that.
No? Why was he in debt?
That was in exchange for his debt.
Oh, I thought the debt was because it cost a lot to turn him into an exo.
No, Cade was in debt to Clovis Bray.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Because he cocked up some security thing big time, and he gambled and he drank, and he may have had a good heart, but his actions didn't show that originally. Now he did fall in love with Maya Sundaresh when he was working as a security guard or security specialist, and she didn't even give him the light at the time of day. Now we're pretty sure that was while they were experiment on the exo technology, but because of his mess up, he then, to clear his debt, said, if you owed somebody, say, £1 million, it's about $1.3 million for the exchange rate.
very important, that little extra couple 100,000.
Yeah. If somebody said, right, you do this for us,
Yeah.
be part of this experiment,
Yeah.
and we'll wipe your debt out,
Um,
it's completely safe.
What could go wrong? Just collect these artifacts, put them together on this table. What's the worst that can happen?
Y'all are
Look,
being
this is
awfully
it.
negative
This-
Nancy about this whole thing. I'm just saying.
Look at this example of our work. This guy's actually working really. We've already done it to this guy. He's working really well. Basically, give you all immortality. Do you want to have a go? And we'll wipe your debt out.
maybe.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Cade had nothing to live for at the time, and sort of went, "Yeah, all right then."
So
Sign me up. What could go wrong?
I know we shifted away from Nezarec, but I just want to bring it back to Nezarec. We've been running around with an exotic fusion rifle this season. That Peroty brought up a good question. We'd like to know what's happening with this exotic fusion rifle, the Delicate Tomb. Arf, tell us about the Delicate Tomb, Arf, and what it has in its bearing for
Whose
Nezarec.
tomb is it, and why is it so delicate? Because I have been bumping this thing around. It's gotten thrown in the back of the ship. I've not treated it well. Just full disclosure.
I believe there was a post on, I did see it on Twitter earlier in the week, that had a picture from one of the game designers of it. And on reload, it looks like, I can find it, must be on Destiny Bulletin because they do a lot of pictures. On reload, it looks like there's like dust coming out the sides. Have you seen this, Peroty? Is this why you were asking the question?
No, and I had seen it in all the Discord of the artifacts and it being bits and pieces of someone, and we're running around with this tomb all season. It was like, well, whose tomb is this, and why is it so delicate, and does this relate to our story? Because it seems a little like it's the seasonal it's the seasonal exotic weapon, so it's got to be related in some way, I would assume.
Delicate tomb. The danger within is repulsive to us. They mistake the vessel for its contents. They confuse the pieces with the whole. They see their imprisonment as empowerment. They are hostages of their flesh, unable to see without vision, unable to hear without sound, unable to slake their thirst for fear of drowning. Their ignorance is their saving grace, yet one among them understands. In their limited fashion they pour from one vessel to another, a welcome change, a new form, another method of gifting death. I'm made finite, personal, bright, and delicate to hide my true form, an intimacy. They think me contained, but I am instead diffused, as vapour upon the wind. Once again I am becoming.
So whose tomb is it? And is it a tomb at all? Because now from that description, it sounds like it's a red herring of sorts, or meant to lead us in one direction, and now here we go in another direction entirely.
Nezarec had many tombs, as we already know, because the Drifter claims to have visited the fourth tomb of Nezarec.
Okay. But sometimes people aren't actually buried in their tombs, are they?
No.
It could
Tombs are often there to actually remember the person or to
to memorialize.
worship them. I wanted to say worship, but that's more of a temple than a tomb.
Yeah, well, like as a memorial, not necessarily this is where your body is, but this is we've erected this
like the
in
pyramids
your
of
honor,
Giza,
whether it could be good or bad.
Yeah, like the pyramids of Giza, they're tombs, but they're also shrines, but they're also memorials. Yeah.
But do you know what this speaks to me about?
No.
Death giving power.
As in the death of someone giving power to others, or gaining power in
giving
death?
Gaining power in death, but the resident of the gun or the sacrificial weapon giving power to the dead individual.
So by using the tomb, maybe we're helping to power Nezarec?
Possibly.
Or or
they mistake the vessel for its
contribute-
contents. They confuse the pieces with the whole. They see their imprisonment as empowerment.
So is it very much like the Whisper of the Worm exotic sniper rifle?
That's exactly the one I was actually going to compare it to. And also what was theorized about the Oryx heart gun that Eris made. I can't remember its name. You know, when we completed Kingsfall originally,
Touch of Malice.
we took Touch of Malice.
Mm-hmm.
It was theorized with us actually part of Oryx being in that gun, and we were still killing with it. It was giving Oryx power. Now we already know that Zol, who we defeated in Warmind,
Just remind us who Zol
didn't.
was, or remind people.
Zol is one of the worm gods, one of the 5 worm gods. Now we already know 2 are dead, so we have 3 remaining. Zol being one of them that's dead, but not dead. Because we didn't kill Zol in his throne, Zol didn't die. Zol just went back somewhere. All that dungeon was about where we got Whisper of the Worm was all about Zol. So when we got in there, effectively, if we defeated that dungeon, Zol gave us the Whisper of the Worm, and basically every time we kill with Whisper of the Worm, it gives Zol power.
So you think that the Delicate Tomb is doing a very similar thing with Nezarec?
Possibly. Well, it's very hard to say who it is. It is somebody,
Okay.
but we don't know who. Nezarec is possibly a good guess.
Nezarec's around.
It could just as
in the
well
story
be
at this point.
Taniks.
There you go. It's just that, because Nezarec's being thrown around in the story at this point in time, and this was the exotic that was given us to us at the beginning of this season, that kind of just ties in that way. But as you said, it could be something completely different.
Yeah, it could be. But if you want, I've got the Whisper of the Worm up, so we can actually you can see the example of the lore on it. A guardian's power makes a rich feeding ground. Do not be revolted. There are parasites that may benefit the host. Teeth sharper than your own. Zol, will of the thousands, perished but was not destroyed. Death is a road. Death is a metamorphosis. The unsacred union between destroyer and the destroyed. The might which defeats a god is also the ambrosia that God craves. The meat-sweet logic of existence asserted by violence. The binormal decision between 2 ways of being which deny each other in dying. Zol fed richly. Now came Zol unto the taken upon Io, who fed Zol with plunder and tried to make of it an idol and the commanding will. Yet Zol was bound joyously to the very logic that sustained it in its death. It wanted the sword proof, the single proof. It wanted to become a rule which divided the mighty living from the mighty dead. So it whispered the anthem and theme, the temptation to dominate the objective universe with the subjective will. It said, I shall be an engine to make your desire hegemon over your conditions. It said, wield me and use me to test your foe. And its worship, Iart.
So it is like whispering to us and egging us on. So the tomb
Yep.
is not so overtly like, hey, I didn't use me to power things. Hey, use me, it'll be great. It's more just you think this is one thing and it's something else. But what is
Yep.
that something else? Don't know if I feel any more or less that it's part of Nezarec, or if it's just some other story beat, some other piece we haven't seen yet.
And you remember the word Iart?
Yes.
Comes up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've recently found a translation for it.
Ooh.
It's almost like an end of a prayer. Like a lot of Christians would end a prayer with Amen.
Okay.
This is Iart. So that would be preached to you, and the worship would go Iart, which so be it.
Is it
Cool.
any,
Or it be so, or something like that. It's very similar to that.
is it related to any particular species? Is it a
Hive?
Hive? Okay, I told that ask if it was a hive sword logic prayer piece.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only sad thing is that when we get weapons like this, because there was another weapon, wasn't there, that's along the same lines as the Whisper and the same as the fusion rifle here, that is feeding. It might have been the Touch of Malice, like you said, is feeding some other entity, or has in the lore it says that it's feeding some other entity to bring it back to life. But we've never actually had those things come back to life. And again, I'd just like to point out, Bungie, you missed an opportunity so many
Have
times.
they, though?
But they've brought the Kingsfall raid back into the game.
Yep.
Who's to say that they couldn't have somehow put Touch of Malice into a dungeon at some point, or a dungeon. They could have had. We had to go to the Dreadnought. There's a dungeon on the Dreadnought.
Touch of Malice still exists.
Yeah, no, but they could have put the Touch of Malice in there as we've now got this back, and then later on down the line, they bring the Kingsfall raid back in, and it's now part of the story. They missed that beat with the Vault of Glass. They could have had a good reason for that coming back in. They could have tied into the story. I'm just saying that each time they've missed the opportunity. And no, they don't want to tie it into the story.
I will say to you, have they?
Yes. I would say yes. But then...
How long ago was Nezarec mentioned? Just to mention, nothing else.
Year one, I'm guessing. Year one of Destiny 2?
Yeah, Nezarec's been around for years. And only now are we getting clues to who he is.
Right.
Shin Malphur was mentioned as a baby in the Grimoire cards, in the Ghost Stories. Bungie are experts at selling us the long story.
Well, they're at least finally paying off. And that's one thing they have said is we want to pay off a lot of these long stories we started. So, I mean, I give them credit for paying off. I'm not sure I'm willing to give them credit for, 7 years of buildup necessarily. But I'll definitely give them credit for saying, we introduced you these characters, now we're going to do something with them.
Yeah, but then they do actually bring these characters into them that they've mentioned. They've fed little bits here and there over many years, and everyone loses their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
Or
I'm just
says-
saying, as a
Or
story
says, who
point,
is this?
I'm just saying as like a story point of view, or even just bring back the Dreadnought and maybe not have had Oryx at the end, maybe have something else at the end. And then because we get the Touch of Malice back in our hands, it then feeds it to then Oryx is then back to then become... I know it's recycling stuff, but it would have made it a bit more
There's a
exciting.
theory out there. Oryx isn't dead.
Yeah, I know that. Just that he's on Saturn, just hanging out, chilling.
He's been
Well,
killed.
no,
many
it's
times.
Spider has actually told us, or was it Spider? It was in the Imminent lore that Oryx's worm, or the skeleton of Oryx's worm, had begun to move. It was only mentioned
Yeah.
in the lore, but one mention that then people will pick up on later when something else comes in, and it means something completely different. Who's to say if Oryx's worm is alive? Who's to say that worm isn't like? Who's to say that worm and Oryx aren't actually dead? They're just gradually coming back with us using Touch of Malice.
And what
we don't know.
What side were you?
being fed.
What side do you think that they would then fight on if Savathun is now with us? So let's just say she is going to be with us on the light side. Do you think Oryx comes back and takes that sister side, or do you think he takes his other sister side, who's out there on the witnesses side?
Right. Good question.
Yes.
Is it a question for today?
We've actually covered this lore before, very early on when I first started on the podcast.
Yes, but now we've got
in the Books of Sorrow.
Yeah, we've gone past that now. We've now got to the point where Savathun is wielding the light, so it's past the Books of Sorrow. This is
twice now. Oryx has doubted the darkness as it was back then.
Okay.
When he communed with it, and they have had sent Savathun before to bring him out of himself, which is then when just before he went back and killed Akka. Was it Akka? And made her into a ship.
Okay.
So Oryx already had doubts.
So he'd come back and he'd be on our side. Nah,
I think so.
that's not a bad one to have on your side. That's kind of an ace up your sleeve, isn't it, really?
I don't know. We've killed him enough times. There might be some hard feelings there.
Look, we've killed each other in the Crucible enough times. You know, there's no hard.
I've only
feelings.
killed him once. I might get away with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a fairly good chance with the doubts he's had if he actually spoke to Savathun. Now Savathun can explain the full story of how they were deceived by the darkness or the witness and Rulk, and how they still have the mother of the worm gods trapped in that pyramid.
Yeah.
In sort. I'm not sure if I believe she's said to be alive, but in some sort of stasis or asleep.
Yeah.
But I believe he would, when he realised he's been deceived, bring all his power to bear.
Would he still have
But-
the
but-
power of the Taken though, or would he just have his power? Because the Taken wasn't that gifted to him via the witness.
The Taken was, yes. He wouldn't be the Taken King anymore.
No.
But he would still have a large amount of power there.
Fair enough.
Who's to say? Here's one thought for you. Savathun's a light bearer.
Yeah.
His remains are still out there. There are still ghosts.
Yeah.
Who's to say Oryx won't be brought back as a guardian? Well, not a guardian, but a lucent hive.
There you go. Dungeon on Saturn. Called it for next season. But then I mean, the stories are taking us one way for the season, and we're looking at like Strand, and we're looking at Lightfall, and we're looking at this fantastic colony that has never been explored. But then
Neomuna.
they're pulling us away from the story we've had with the Witch Queen. There's no mention of Ziva Arath, the third sister, brother.
Been taken over by the Vex because no one's paid attention to them for years.
No, I'm sure Arf has probably got a theory on this.
No, I haven't actually, but I think Ziva Arath is actually waiting in the wings to come in. Either we've got to do something with Zivu, either next expansion or further on than that.
Do you think Zivu might be part of Lightfall? Do you think that might be?
Yes, I do. That's more than likely where we're going to come, because she's the last of the hive. The hive, holy trinity, if you will, of the three. We've defeated two now. We've got one to go. They've got to do something with Zivu to complete that.
That's what I was really wondering, because they keep talking about the ending of the Light and Dark saga, but does that mean that all of our characters are also ending at that point? Like, are all of these big bads going away? Because that's sort of in my head for the longest time. I was thinking, well, that the saga ends, and we're getting sort of a new saga, a new set of characters, but there's got to be some through lines. So yeah, now I wonder, is Zivu going to get wrapped up or addressed in this next season or two, or is Zivu going to be, going to league with Callus in Lightfall, and that's how we kick things off there?
Well, I think the thing is that we had a whole expansion on the Taken King. We had a whole expansion on the Witch Queen. So it would only do her a disservice if she was put into a dungeon or maybe the next raid. I think she deserves her own expansion, to be honest. Otherwise,
Yeah, it deserves more than
it's
just
not
by
fair.
the way.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we'll just tie this up over here.
By the way, the third sister lived happily ever after the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really, because we have this huge character that just has been out there hanging out, whatever. Yeah, it's like, what are we gonna do with this? Are we gonna wrap? Bungie definitely seems to be, again, making those big strides, wrapping up those big story beats before the saga ends. But yeah, what does the end of the saga really look like?
Yes, something does need to be.
I'm curious.
Done with Zivu. Now, at the end of Lightfall, I don't believe that all the characters will be taken on taken out if they are planning to continue with Destiny.
Right. Yeah, there's got to be some through lines, because that in my head when they were talking about the end of the saga, I was thinking, oh, well, we'll end our time with these, not these the alien races necessarily, but like these particular big bad alien characters. But
yeah,
now that you've again put what should have been very obvious into my brain, you've got to have some through lines. You've got to have some through story of. It can't just be like, all right, now here's a whole new set of people you've never heard of or care about that we're trying to introduce you to, and maybe Zivu is the first person in the new, in Lightfall that, hey, Here's who you're supposed to care about now. Here's what's going on with her.
I think the problem that Destiny could run into is the Star Wars problem, is that you've created a trilogy. You can go back and you can tell previous stories for vast amounts of time, but people really want to know what happens next in the story beats with the characters that we were originally taken with. And there's only so far that you can go with those stories before you start repeating yourself again. And then people like the Star Wars franchise either enjoy it and they love the fact that, you know, it's kind of a little bit of the old and new, or they hate the fact that they brought back the Emperor kind of thing. It's just like, why are we rehashing this? Why, you know, it's not what we signed on for. We signed on for
or they need to hand on the baton.
Yeah, it needs to be something like that. Otherwise, you are going to be retreading things that people are not happy with. And we've seen how Star Wars can go. Not saying that I don't like Star Wars. I love Star Wars, and I was quite all right with bringing back the Emperor. I don't care.
I thought that was a nice touch, actually.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And it's the final death. All right. And I believe that is going to be the conclusion of the lore for today. Otherwise, we can just go on for hours with this.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
But
Yeah, thank
not
you.
a problem. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
So, with Arf gone, we can now continue with telling people what's happening next week in Destiny.
Destiny.
So if you tuned in at the beginning and you thought you were going to get all this information at the beginning, I'm sorry. We kind of mixed things up. We threw things around, and we might even continue to do that afterwards because we like to kind of keep you on your toes and not give you timestamps so that you can skip around. You have to listen to all of it until you can find it.
Timestamps for the patrons.
Timestamps for the week.
We are also the light in the darkness.
Right. I'm coughing to death over here, guys.
Well, don't die, because otherwise, if you die, you won't be able to enjoy what's next week in Destiny.
What is
Respawn, if you die, you will not be able to take down Sepix Prime in the Devil's Lair Nightfall. You will not be able to enjoy, not that you would anyway, bonus Gambit ranks all week long.
All right.
You will definitely not be playing Mayhem in the Crucible. And you will not be hunting Pinnacles in the Last Wish raid or the Pit of Heresy dungeon if you die. So you should live, if for no other reason, for these things.
And when you say pinnacles, does that mean that there's an extra pinnacle activity apart from the Duality Dungeon and apart from the King's Fall raid that you can get pinnacle power engrams to drop?
Yes, there should be
say
another
that.
pinnacle raid out there next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every week there's a rotating pinnacle raid in dungeon, which we tell the people about, that Bungie also tells the people about every single week when they tell you what's happening next week.
And we've told the people what's happening next week.
We really have. Oh, what we haven't told the people is where can they go pick up some of these new exotic pieces that I hear so much about, except for the new Hunter one, because you still can't wear it because it's still disabled.
Are you talking about Lost Sectors?
I am.
Hello!
Please find me the Lost Sectors so I know if I'm missing things or I just want a better version. You know, I'm working on my roles and I'd like better versions of the exotics I have. Where can I go get those?
Well, we can tell you what the rotation is going by what the rotation has been for several weeks now. But sometimes they do, if there's a glitch or something game breaking in that Lost Sector, Bungie do kind of swap it up on the day. And they don't necessarily tweet out about and tell people. So this should be the Lost Sectors for next week. So September 26th will be Monday. Bunker E15 over on Europa will be giving you legs. So any exotic legs that you have and don't have, you can go and farm your Lost Sectors to your heart's content. There is a flag outside that will tell you what champions are in there and burns. And Peroty has a website that it will tell you now where you can go to check this ahead of time.
That will be lostsector.today. But I've also learned that blueberries.gg has a very in-depth Lost Sector guide that will tell you what to run, what suggested loadouts they have, and a video to get you through it. So lostsector.today if you want just the facts, blueberries.gg if you want all the details. Or, as always, we'll have links in our show notes to other recommended videos, Nitedemon selected videos, telling you how to get through these.
I like to go through YouTube and have a look at who's putting out a video and going, you know, you can get through this with like a paper towel and a stick and still get an exotic from the end of it.
And so, in some of these lost sectors, that's all you need. That's one thing I think Blueberries GG has started doing is sort of ranking them by how easy it is to farm, giving them rankings and giving them, hey, you can get this down to like 2 minutes per run with this loadout and with this, sort of way to go into it.
Yeah.
So it's nice to know if they're like, yeah, this is a terrible one to farm. Maybe take that day off. Go do something else.
Yeah. So September 27th, your Tuesday, would be the Conflux over on Nessus, and that would be giving you exotic arms. September 28th will be the Rift, also on Nessus, giving you chess pieces. September 29th will be the K1 Crew Quarters over on the Moon, and that would be exotic headpieces. I don't know why they say head on this list. It's helmets. September 30th will
the
be
helmet goes on your head, maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's a chest piece, legs. It should be boots, shouldn't it? Gauntlets. Yeah. Never mind. September 30th will be the K1 Logistics over on the Moon, giving you exotic legs. October 1st will be also on the Moon with the K1 Communion, and that would be giving you arms. The 2nd of October will be the Skydock over on the EDZ, giving you exotic chest pieces. And then finally back round to Monday, October 3rd, will be Scavenger's Den on the EDZ, giving exotic helmets. That's the one.
Nope, they're
So
just handing out heads.
They're just handing out heads, yeah. So yes, I will make sure that I list each day in a grid, giving you a guide for each day for those as well.
Now that I've gone into those lovely lost sectors and gotten all of the beautiful things from them, gotten all those lovely exotics, or, sometimes maybe not gotten the exotics because it says, no, not today, Satan, not today. Where could I go?
Not today, Satan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, not today, Satan.
Okay, sure.
Sometimes you have to push back the forces of evil. They need to be told in strict terms, not today.
Okay.
I mean, pick the god or underworld demon of your choice. It's up to you. I'm not telling you what to do.
No, fair enough.
But what I will tell you is if you are interested in buying the lovely package containing all of the Telesto items, it is available for silver this week. It is a silver only thing this season, and it does come up on certain weeks. This coming week will be one of those weeks. So if you want to buy your lovely Telesto Ghost Shell, Telesto Sparrow, and Telesto Ship, you do have an opportunity to do that. But what
where would I
tell you
go
to buy?
Purchase this?
Oh, you would go to the Eververse. The
Is that
Eververse
in-game?
store.
Is it in game?
It is in game. It's in game. Okay. It's on a menu. You can either physically visit it in person or you can go to it through your menu. It's up to you.
Physically,
I won't tell you how to do it.
Through my character?
Yes, you can walk up to the counter and say, here is what I would like.
And that's
you cannot go to it out in the real world. That's coming in Destiny 3 in 2097. So Nitedemon, what should the people be buying for Bright Dust? Because I know they've been picking up their additional bounties, and I know they've been earning their Bright Dust on their seasonal pass, and they're just itching to spend some, like the crying ice cream emote from this week. What might they want to spend next week?
Well, although they have an offering of a concentrated matter gem, a glimmer shard, and a scavenger's boon at the Eververse store, just be aware if you purchase these, we will send Respawn personally round to each and every one of your houses and beat you over the head with a stick, because you do not need them. But what you could purchase is the Junkyard Shell, which is an exotic ghost shell, for 2,850 Bright Dust. We have the Thinking Headache, which is a rare emote available for 400 Bright Dust. We have the X Marks the Spot projection for your ghost, which will be 1,500 Bright Dust. We have a shader called Breezy Clear, and that would be for 300 Bright Dust. We have the Splish Splash exotic emote for 3,250 Bright Dust. Sweep the Arena, that would be a legendary emote for 700 Bright Dust. We have the Urban Commander exotic Sparrow for 2,500 Bright Dust. The Energetic Explanation rare emote for 400 Bright Dust. Now, if you're collecting the ornaments for the Fortnite packs that are up and you don't want to spend silver on them, next week is going to be your week to get your legs. So we have the ornaments for the Hunter, Titan, and Warlock all available next week for 1,600 Bright Dust. Then we have the Objective Reality, which is a weapon ornament for the Truth rocket launcher for 1,250 Bright Dust. And then finally, the Infinite Door projection for your ghost for 1,500 Bright Dust. And again, just a reminder, you buy only those other three things at the beginning, Respawn's coming to your house. and it's not going to be a happy visit.
No. I have sticks, and they didn't take the little twiggies off the ends, so they're
I'm
gonna hurt.
struggling to remember all the other things we need to cover. One
I
thing,
knew you were.
one thing I was like, is there something else I'm missing? There's
There
definitely
is.
something else I'm missing
There
that I
is.
always miss that
Yep.
that Nitedemon is kind enough to tell us about.
That would be your challenges for next week.
That's the one.
See, challenges for week 6. We have the Antiquarian 6, which is return the 6th relics to the helm. Also defeat powerful Cabal throughout the system. Defeating more will award bonus progress. So we'd like 6 relics placed. So you have to make sure you do all 6 weeks. And as I found out with Arf this week, you can just continue doing the story if you haven't already done it and get all 6 in 1 week if you feel like it. So now's your week to do that. And 150 power for Cabal. That will give you Repute and Challenge XP+. Razor Glass, which is perform emotes at the end of Catch Crash, or Expedition for additional rewards. Doing so on Master difficulty will award bonus progress. This interaction requires the purchase of the first Swashbuckler upgrade, and they would like you to perform 6 emotes. Not too many, but I'm sure that's probably doubled if you're doing the Master. That would
Which
give
if you haven't purchased that upgrade the immediate moment it was available, I don't know what's wrong with you, because who doesn't emote at the end of things?
So that's the from the star chart, isn't it? You have to purchase the different upgrades for the for doing the Catch Crash and the Expedition. It'll give you different rewards. You'll be able to pick up crew members and extra stuff from it. So go and check that out in the star chart. That will give you Repute and Challenge XP+. We have Catch Crash 2, which is in Catch Crash, destroy shield generators in the maintenance bay, hack terminals in the treasure hoard, and destroy storage tanks in the ether storage. Doing so on Master Catch Crash will award bonus progress. So 10 shield generators, 10 terminals hacked, and 20 ether tanks destroyed. That will award you with Challenge XP+.
I already have that as a challenge earlier this season.
It was a challenge earlier this season, and I still haven't finished it. I've still got to do, I think it's the, I've done the shield generators. I've done the terminal hacks and I've done the ether tanks destroyed, but I haven't done the shield generators because every time I got to go and try and do one, somebody else was there first. So I haven't done that one yet. So hopefully this will be collective if it will take into account that you've already done the Catch Crash 1. It'll add that to it, but it might not. You never know. Next up, we have Hailstorm, which is defeat targets with arc or stasis abilities, defeating combatants in Expedition, and defeating Guardians will award bonus progress. 200 of those have been needed, so that's your abilities, not gun kills, and that will give you Challenge XP++.
And Mayhem is up next week, so that might be a good place to get that done. Those Guardian bonus kills.
Apex Armorer, masterwork a single piece of armor. That will give you Challenge XP+ and Bright Dust. Absolutely stunning. Stun 50 champions. That will give you Challenge XP++ and some Bright Dust.
What are the odds they auto-complete that one as well?
I doubt it. That one's up every season. It's only stunning champions. You can literally stand in one room, stun them, wait for them to get back their health, and stun them again. It goes quite quick. There are places to choose it. And then finally, Intended Authority. Acquire the Crucible Ornament for Crime Mutiny. And that will give you Challenge XP++ and Bright Dust.
Once again, I tell you, Mayhem is up next week.
See, I don't have an issue with Crucible.
You don't, but many, many other people do.
Okay.
So I'm trying to help those people who you have to drag kicking and screaming into Crucible. And even then, they're like, I don't want to be here, and I hate you for doing this to me.
Okay, well, hear me out on this, right? With things like that, for getting the seasonal weapon that we have that you can get from any of the vendors, and then you have to play back through, reset your rank to get the ornament for them. There are things that are set up for doing the Vanguard playlist, and there are things that are set up to do the Crucible playlist, and they all count towards accruing your XP towards that, and then finally resetting it. So over a season of how many weeks that we normally have, 12 to 14, it's easily done, I think, in Crucible a lot more than it is in Vanguard. With Crucible, you've got Iron Banner, you have Trials up at the weekend, or you can just play regular Crucible. And all three of those things count towards resetting your ranks and getting XP for Crucible to get your ornament. The same thing, similar. The same thing is similar with your Vanguard. You can play your 3 a week and just do that passively. But sometimes when you have a really easy nightfall, I say easy nightfall, when you have an easier than normal nightfall come up and they double rewards or they give you double XP and things like that, people are more incentivized to go and to like farm the nightfalls and do things like that. And again, that will help generate the XP to get you to go and play those game modes and then reset your rank and then get your ornament. There is nothing for Gambit. So hear me out on this. I think we need some kind of event or something that will entice people to go into Gambit a lot more and reset their rank and get their ornament. And I understand you like it, Peroty. I mean, I'm not against Gambit, but it is like third on the list. If I have a choice of doing Crucible, Strikes, or Gambit, I will do Crucible, Strikes, or Gambit.
Right, in that order. And yeah,
Yeah.
And they do give you, like, again, next week double XP Gambit is up, but again, it's still the same thing. There's no enticement to go in. You're either going to or you're not. It's not like, oh, there's an event going on or there's something. I mean, again, the yesteryear they gave a Desperado. It's a Gambit drop, so there's at least a reason to go in if you're hunting that. But if you don't care about that, then yeah, there's not much of a reason to go, earning those engrams and focusing things if there's nothing you're interested in.
If you're playing Crucible, you enjoy playing Crucible, you have got trials up at the weekends. You have Iron Banner every couple of months, like one thing. There is extra enticement to go into those playlists to do other stuff than rather just play the just bog standard game mode. And the same with the Vanguard. If you're playing the Nightfalls and you're just getting the shards and the rewards kind of you get from that, your adept weapons. There's something additional that you can get from playing that game mode. It's not just go and play this game mode and we'll give you double XP for the week. They've got to do something more. Bungie's got to do something more to have, even if they bring back like Gambit Prime like once a month or twice, like they do with the Iron Banner, do something focused around Gambit so that people think, oh, and get the population in there and play it more. I'm just throwing it out there because I was just looking at it this week that just passively playing my Iron Banner and then just doing a couple of trials bits every weekend without actually playing Crucible, any of the, sticking in the competitive or going into normal control and just playing that and resetting my ranks. I've just nearly got to my second reset on just Crucible, and I haven't really just played Crucible. All I did was Iron Banner and a bit of trials.
So Gambit Labs with, a reason for people to go in. Give people a reason to play the game mode. Because it's either you love it or you hate it, and most likely all you people out there hate it. Which I can understand. It's something, especially it's much like Crucible. You either enjoy going into it or you don't. You either treat it like a horde mode or you get frustrated by, trying to do well and people invading. It's I would love to see them do something with it. I mean, it's other than desperately needing some maps, like it's not in a bad spot right now. Like it's not like game time wise, game balance wise, like it's not, there is a freelance playlist on it now. So if you can go in just as a solo person and play other solo people, like, yeah, you still might get stomped or you still might stomp the other team, but you're not going to go up against the sweaty Gambit 4 stacks. And yes, sweaty Gambit 4 stacks are absolutely a thing. But yeah, it's like we created this and we sort of forgot about it. The end.
Or even what was the game mechanic that you went up the bridge? I can't remember the name of that. That was
The Reckoning.
I thought it was called The Reckoning. What about like maybe doing that? Maybe like they do with the Iron Banner, do that kind of game event.
Bring that
like
in on
once every couple of
rotation.
months. Bring it on a rotation, and at the end of defeating the boss at the end, do what they do with like Nightfalls and that. Just you can get shards, you can get adept weapons. There's a reason to go and do that. There are Gambit weapons that people would go and get if there was a way of kind of getting them, or even like we do now with crafting. If you get to the end, you get a chance of getting a red bordered weapon. Imagine you with your gnawing hunger that you love so much that you'd be able to craft and be able to do it, get the role that you want. There'd be enticement. It's been in the game, so why not bring it back to do something in the game that will then entice people to, and you get XP going towards Gambit for playing it that week. and it's just another way of kind of enticing people into a game mode.
Yeah, no, fully agreed. I would love them see them do something with Gambit. Give us a Gambit Labs. Give us a an inkling that you're thinking about it. We still play it on a planet that's been taken out of the game for how many seasons now? Looking at you, Titan.
Yeah, and I agree with you. They need to bring back some of the maps that they took out of it because they weren't working very well. It's been over a year now.
Yeah, for a game mode that's gotten a lot of investment in terms of tweaking it and changing it around, it's also, I mean, sort of much like PvP, hasn't gotten a lot of new investment.
Anyway, there you go, Bungie. We're giving you some more ideas. Why don't you run with that? Because I know you're listening. Because there's a joke that's in the Respawn to Report roundup this week that tells me that you listened to the end of the show last week. And speaking of the Respawn to Report roundup, why don't we go there first? Let's mix things up this week. Let's catch the Hunter Master Rager off guard.
Oh, I'm not off guard because Lucky Pop says Twitch drama, and he's talking about how the Twitch streamers are not happy with the revenue that they've been getting. Dun dun dun.
I thought they've
There's
been getting, but that they're going to start getting.
Yeah, that. DFP at DFP,
Shake.
whatever that word is,
Shake.
says, huh?
It's shake.
Okay, sure it is. Imagine a
Destiny
system
Fun
for
Place.
trials where you're rewarded for how much you play, regardless of wins or losses. It tallies up how many games completed, kills gotten, supers used, etc. And then when you go to hand in your card, you get a ton of loot based on that. People would play all weekend. I agree. If you go flawless, then you get even more loot. But everyone would walk away feeling like they'd made a decent use of their time. Wouldn't need a flawless pool because all skill levels would be getting involved for the loot.
I'm not sure on that one. I like the flawless pool every now and then. Like, I know when that goes, and let's just tell people about that if you're not aware. When Trials comes up at the weekends, they have I believe it's from Friday reset to Sunday's reset, that you can play as many times as you like in that reset, and you'll be playing all the same people. But once you've got a flawless count on your card, you get put into the flawless pool, which then goes live Sunday's reset. So they're out of the player pool, and anybody else that is going for flawless has a little bit better of a chance because they're not going up against the sweaties all weekend. So from Sunday through to the reset on Tuesday, us peasants kind of like to play sometimes and have a chance at getting to the lighthouse. So I sometimes like that. And I don't know about you guys.
I'd have to play more to take advantage of that. But yeah, no, I mean, it's, yeah. What you say are words that make sense when put together the way you put them together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more motivated by the solo queue, the freelance playlist than I am by the, when I play on the weekends. But part of it is just when I have time to play. But I did like his idea of, again, just go participate. And honestly,
absolutely,
you can do something, something like that in Gambit. Put some Pinnacle Chase rewards in Gambit. Same idea. Just go engage with this game type, and we will give you things for engaging with it. If you do great, you get better stuff. But just by go playing it, you get things out of it.
For those of you that are out there saying, well, that's what bounties are for. Yeah, but you don't get an unlimited number of bounties, bro. It's not unlimited.
Almost.
Plus, you have to do the card before you can even get access to some of these weapons anyway. So this guy's idea, yeah, give people loot just because they participate. I dig it. DestinyTracker.com says currently the most used weapons in the Crucible are the No Time to Explain, the BXR 55 Battler, the Beloved, and the Austringer. No surprise there. Cheese Forever says, I spent 100 Umbral Energy with no red borders. I tried the random weapon Engram plus the targeted focus. I'm about to hijack a catch and loot it. First of all, 100 Umbral Energy with no red borders, that's only 10 weapons, bro. Not even.
Yeah, but he makes a point where I'm having the same struggle. I am over level 100 in the season. I can craft exactly one weapon because I got enough red borders for it. The red borders are not dropping. Where are they, Bungie? Where are the red borders?
rip orders for what are you trying to look for, dude?
The seasonal weapons.
Mm.
All of
I've
the new
got a
seasonal
few of those
weapons.
already. I can craft the sidearm and I think the shotgun.
I
yeah.
just got the last one I needed for the machine gun last night, and that
Wow.
came out of it wasn't even the activity. It came out of like a random drop from I can't remember where I was. Something unrelated to Catch Crash or Expeditions.
I've had some in Crucible drop.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe okay, that must have been it. It was either Crucible or Trials.
Yeah.
At the end of one of those, it's like here's a red border. I'm like, okay, I'm confused, but I'll take it.
I'll dig it. Yeah. All right. We have Bungie Store says, "Did you think we forgot about you, Warlocks?" The Nezarec Sin miniature helmet replica is in stock and shipping now. Speaking of shipping, my jacket, Bungie sent me an update saying, "Hey, expect your raid jacket in September." Bungo?
Of which year?
It is the 24th. You're almost out of September.
But there's a little September left.
Yeah, and I still don't have a tracking number, so
You don't need it.
Why don't you get on that, Bungo? You're almost out
They
of
sent you the
September.
update. They said you'll get it by September. You've got time.
1 week. Anyway, Bungie Help says, due to the completion requirement being too high for many players, we have auto-completed the Champions Defeated objective for this week's Sales of the Ship Stealer seasonal quest. Cool.
Yeah, so if you looked at that and said there's no way, they've already done it for you. So now you can continue your seasonal quest.
Yeah.
What was it, like 100 captains or something insane?
50 champions.
50
50? Woo!
Yeah. 50 in Catch Crash and Expedition.
Yeah. the thing was, it was part of the seasonal quest. So this is your sale of the ship stealers quest that you're kind of doing
Right.
up to the 62 steps. And this week's quest step, before you could progress any of the story, was defeat 50 champions. And
wait, before you could progress the story?
Yeah, this was part. Yeah,
that was this week's story step.
Because you said seasonal. You said seasonal. I'm like, well, snap! You got all season to do that.
No, it's not a seasonal challenge. It was a story step for this week.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you do have all season to do it, but you can't progress until you do this step.
Oh my god!
The funny thing was, where I was playing with Arf this week, and we needed to go back and do a lot of Catch Crash, and we did a lot of expeditions. I was slowly chipping away at this, and when I actually looked at it, when I logged off with Arf, I was up to like 48 out of the 50. I thought, no problem, I can go and do another 2. But then, it automatically completed. But I wasn't even paying any attention to it until it was pointed out to me. I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing that now because I'm having to go back and play. So if you hadn't played, if you were going back and helping somebody else, it was all right. But if you'd kind of done like Arf, if you'd have played the season like he did on the Wednesday of just doing the story missions, he would have got to that point and probably gone, nah, not for me. We're not doing 50 now.
Probably.
I've already killed how many of these, and now you want another 50? No, sir.
Cheese Forever says turning off nav mode invokes chat has solved 50% of my issues.
Did I put those two in the opposite order as I meant to? There
Mm.
should be one. Oh, I sure did. Yeah. Whoops. So I gave you the same one twice. Basically, he was having a problem where I guess on the console, doing a lot of things will invoke, the chat mode, the text chat on the console. Like anytime you go into a menu, you bring up your ghost, it brings the chat mode up. And he's like, so turning that off will sort of fix some of that problem. I wouldn't know because I turned off text chat like day one and forgot it even existed ever since. So that's also an option.
Oh, before we carry on, I just want to remind people that week 1's challenge, there was Flourish of Power, which was defeat Guardians in Mayhem playlist with super abilities, and you had to get 50 of those. So if you haven't completed that from week 1, don't forget this week coming up, we have Mayhem back again. So there you go.
Speaking of Mayhem, Liana Rupert says, regarding the weapons theory from last TWAB, temporarily delayed for a near future TWAB, Weapons team has been on a podcast circuit with people and got some really cool insight that we wanted to take a smidge more time to explore. It's still on the way. That told us nothing.
Yeah, so a bunch of people were like, hey, Bungie, you told us you'd tell us, weapon crafty things in the last TWAB, and then you didn't. So that's why.
What? They're obviously not talking about me. But it says, okay, at Bungie, at Respawn, standing against toxicity and harassment takes all of us working together to build healthier communities. We are with you in that effort at Respawn. I know they're not talking to me because I am on the opposite end of that pool.
No,
Okay,
Respawn Entertainment, not Respawn.
I did have a very
non-entertainment
good
party.
chuckle putting your report together of all the discourse in the last day or two about giving Respawn kudos for standing up to harassment.
Yeah.
So
Nope,
I just
not
thought
me.
that was and it's Respawn, Respawn Studios, Respawn Entertainment basically saying, hey, a bunch of you Respawn to the community are harassing our devs and people. Quit it, because we don't have to talk to you people. We don't have to put up with that.
That's true.
We have no tolerance for it, and we won't do it. Bungie's like, yeah, hard agree.
Yep. So, although I will stand up to bullying, I am also an invoker. Please.
As we went over earlier, when we were telling you not to buy those things from the Eververse store.
Right, see? Exactly. Destiny Bulletin says new Bungie is hiring a partnerships manager to seek out the best and boldest opportunities within multiple market sectors, from gaming and movies to technology and fashion, for an unannounced AAA project. Yay.
Fall
That
Guys.
sounds fun.
It's all Fall Guys.
Destiny Bulletin, world's first master Kingsfall raid completed in 35 minutes and 42 seconds. Oh, the master. Oh, okay. I was like, well, damn, I've gotten close to that, but it's master. So nope. Nope. All right, cool.
JK.
JK, lol.
So who was that?
You want to know the team? Okay. The team that successfully did it is called Shenzi, Scrub, Southside Shorty, Zemo, Jazz, and Mexis. So if you know those guys, cool. If you don't know those guys, yeah, who cares? So, Darrow9, recently, Bungie secretly patched one of the rarest shaders in the game, and now it looks way cooler. Check it out. Of course, the name of the thing is not in here.
I believe that is the not kitty cat, but indeed fox mask. Is that one?
No, the shader.
The shader, homeboy.
Oh, the shader. Okay, yeah, because
I believe it is the King's Fall flawless shader.
Flawless.
So they're not talking about the I see, talking about the shader, not the armor you put the shader on.
I'm not saying this because
I'm
you
literate,
said
I
this 2
promise.
weeks ago when you was talking like a pirate. So I'm
No, it was
over
last week's
Cosmo.
joke.
True Vanguard.
No, tell them about what
Making
Cosmo
a
said.
goal to continue to diversify my content in the next year with some awesome titles coming out. I think I'll cover Destiny as long as it exists just because I genuinely love it. But some of my most viewed videos of all time are the other games that I also really like. Kaka says there's games other than Destiny 2, to which Destiny Bulletin said, yeah, Destiny 1. Lol.
Yeah,
Back. And that is it for the Respawn.
Why are you not reading my
roundup.
thing? That's nasty. Don't like you now.
Fired.
All right. So apparently Nitedemon thinks that Bungie listens to our show.
They do. They obviously
because Cosmo happened to look at the same Pirate Joke website as Nitedemon did and said you'd think a pirate's favorite letter would be the R, but in truth it be the C. Har har har. Yuck yuck yuck. I feel bad for saying it.
Confirmation he listens to the show. That's it.
Yeah.
100% accurate.
Cosmo, if you listen to the show, just at any one of us, just something random, all right? Just anything. I don't care if it's just like, yeah, I listen to the show. No, I don't. Whatever. I don't care. Just at any one of us.
And he's not going to see it for 3 years.
I was going to say,
he has a Twitter.
Yeah, he's probably already done it.
I have a Twitter. You guys know I have a Twitter. I even tweet our stuff out almost every
but
week.
Do you know you have a Twitter? That's the question.
Do you know how to?
I know you do.
I know you got one. Do you know you've got one? Yes, I think.
So I know we're just teasing the listeners here by getting closer and closer to this week at Bungie. But before we get there, we had a hot
We're not even there yet. Oh, my tummy's
6.2.0.6 on September
We
22nd
did.
that changed a few things in the game.
We did. Well, first of all, we threw out hotfix 6205. It was garbage. We didn't like it. Didn't even bother pushing it out. So we had 6206, which they claim to have adjusted in the Crucible, the adjusted map frequency weighting for Disjunction and Cathedral of Dusk, which, if it's like my experience, makes those 100% available to come up. They fixed the issue where players could also not progress the weekly Crucible challenge in Crucible Labs, so you could play Labs all you wanted, but it wouldn't actually push your challenges forward, which made everybody sad. The King's Fall raid, they fixed an issue where the Daughters of Oryx were taking extra damage from rocket launchers and other sources. They fixed issues where players were able to survive certain type of wipe mechanics throughout the activity, and an issue where players could sometimes spawn behind the doors of the War Priest encounter. They fixed some things in armor. The seasonal mod improved Sword Scavenger and leg armor mod Sword Scavenger would stack. If you equip one of these mods, you can no longer equip the other, so no longer can you stack your Sword Scavenger mods. The regular and artifact machine gun scavenger mods were also able to stack. That too has been unstacked. They did fix an issue where the Touch of Malice Blight projectile could affect allies, blinding them and causing them to take additional damage from weapons of sorrow. They fixed the issue where the Touch of Malice was also, its final round was incorrectly doubling its damage when hitting the Divinity field. Good times. They also fixed an issue where the Spark of Feedback Fragment could cause abilities, buffs, and debuffs to stop functioning in rare cases. And finally, if you're on ye olde Xbox or ye olde PlayStation, your embedded links for Korean purchase dialogues weren't functional. Now they are. They fixed the crash that would occur at startup on PlayStation 4 when users had a large number of platform entitlements, you entitled PlayStation users. And they fixed an issue where the 120Hz refresh rate option was missing on both the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. So once again, you can play at the proper number of hertz in the Crucible on those consoles.
And Bungie, I know that I'm not breaking your heart here or giving you any information you don't really understand or know, but Cheese Forever has a video going over how to stack the mods again for the rockets and swords, so you haven't really fixed it. If Cheese has got a video out there.
We fixed this thing. Cheese says, LOL, JK, no you didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the Cheese experience.
Cheese channel linked in the show notes.
Always and forever. So yeah, that was our hot fix. And there was a whole actually I think I need to send you this link. I saw it relating to the whole rocket launchers doing additional damage to the Daughters of Oryx is because of the way like the Daughters of Oryx were showing up as like different, there's like boss types, mini boss types.
They're showing up as vehicles.
Yeah, that's the one. So someone on Reddit, and I'll send the link to Nitedemon for the show notes, has put together a list of like all of the ways that all the different types of weapons do damage to bosses, mini to bosses, vehicles, and all that good stuff, which sort of explained why the rocket launchers were doing extra damage to things. Why they show up as vehicles is a whole nother question entirely, but one we do not have answers to. And now you know what we're almost ready for?
Cool.
No.
We're almost ready for this week of Bungie.
Let's get it.
But before that, I think we need to say a very special thank you to all of the lovely people who looked at this show and said, we tried to listen to you on Spotify, but Spotify has failed us, so we went elsewhere. We enjoy everything you do for us each week, up to and including giving us shows completely out of order, so we never know what we're going to get. Will there be lore? Will there not be lore? What there will be is excitement, mayhem, and chaos. And I would like to give a very special thank you to our Patreons. They know who they are, and we know who they are. They are the T-Rex King, Zep Orbit, and the Scarlet KM, who have decided to say, I want to be an Otter Dance troop member, because it's a fun dance to do. Who wouldn't want to? And I also want to give a special shout out to Golden God and Pee Pee Pipe for, one, being lovely patrons. Patrons? Words are hard.
People.
Being like, we like you a lot, here's some money for doing what you do. Because, we love you and we appreciate you and we thank you very, very much. And also a special thank you to Pee Pee Pipe, which is Peepy Pipe, which we got a origin story this week of her time in COD where she would peek around corners. That's where the name comes from. But Respawn was trying to talk to the group we were playing Master Catch Crash with this week, and referred to her as the Pee-Pee Girl, which was worth its weight in gold. Hearing him try to refer to her, not remembering her full name, and just I'm sure getting lots of people going, "Why are you talking about the Pee-Pee Girl?" It was wonderful. So thank you for that. And if you too are interested in becoming one of our various very valuable patrons, who at some point we will give you more things than just our undying satisfaction, love, attention, and shout outs on the show, you too could go to patreon.com/TTAH to find all the lovely things there. And we're working on things to give you lovely humans. Because as we've always said, the show is not going to change. The show stays the show. We're not going to say, here's all the cool things we used to do and then you have to pay for. No. We're just going to give you more things.
Yeah.
What are those things? You have to subscribe to find out. Patreon.com/TTAH.
Indeed.
And now,
you put the link. I thought you were going to read her feedback. Is that not a thing?
oh, I can read her feedback, or you can read her feedback since you.
All right, I can read it.
You're,
I just
you're
saw the
half
link.
You're half the reason I wanted to say I appreciate you.
So, again, PP Pipe says absolutely 100%. I picked up the game a few months ago and craved some more information and wanted to dig deeper into this world of Destiny. I used headphones at work and decided to look up Destiny 2 in Spotify, and boom, there you were. I was hooked within 10 minutes. And after the second full episode I listened, I noticed a show schedule with topics and quickly recognized the sounds to decipher the different sections, which each are equally important and fun. I kept hearing terms like dim, little light, God roll, and had no clue what was going on. So I joined their Discord. Sure, I could have done a Google search for the Destiny questions I had, but I prefer real-time questions and answers. Every day I learned a bit more from the people here. The show notes, and multiple other resources that stemmed from here. I too get excited every week when a new episode comes out, and it's a great way to burn a few hours at work while getting ... educated? Yeah, we'll go with that. Thanks for all the hard work, guys. It shows. I really mean it. Keep it up. And you know what? We do this for people like that, for people like you, for people that can't get your news anywhere, or you can, and you still choose us for some reason that we still haven't figured out. And you know what? We've had to think about it because other people have asked us, how are you so successful? And we're just like, I have no idea. How are we successful? Demon's like, I have no idea. Parody's like, I don't know. So we don't know why you love us, but you do.
I know the secret. Nope, I know the secret. I figured it out this past week.
Oh, what was it?
Figured it out.
What?
Because Demon worked out a secret deal with Spotify. He signed a huge contract behind the scenes. When anytime anybody searches Destiny in Spotify, it just directs them to us.
Nice.
Little known fact, but I uncovered this week in my deep investigations.
Well done, Demon. Well done.
No, but seriously, yeah, but thank you everybody who listens. Thank you everyone who listens and likes us enough to go, here's some dollars. Dollars, pounds, whatever currency. We appreciate you. We thank you, and we're gonna keep doing what we do. And right now, what we're gonna do is Respawn's gonna read you This Week at Bungie in a pirate voice in one breath. Go.
I'll do neither of those things, but I will read it though. Just not the way he said it I was. Okay, so This Week at Bungie, 9/22/2022. This week at Bungie, we've got a light TWAB for you, but the teams are so excited to share what they've been working on soon. Remember, TWABs are just one part of the conversation. A lighter TWAB is a good thing sometimes. It means heads are down, creativity is high. But before we dive into that, here's what we've got for you this week. For this TWAB's TWAB time, we aren't talking like pirates anymore, Sad Panda. But we do have a nifty way for you to continue living that pirate fantasy with the Season of the Plunder soundtrack. We've also got a few new Bungie rewards to earn for those swashbucklers looking to make their mark on the non-digital world. More legendary universal ornaments and an update from our player support team on known issues and what's coming down the immediate pipeline. But before we get into all of that, we wanted to take a moment to talk about something important. That is the response to the September national disasters. We are devastated by the crises occurring in communities around the world due to Hurricane Fiona, Super Typhoon Namnadol, and the magnitude 7.6 earthquake in Mexico, and beyond. Our humanitarian partners are rapidly and efficiently responding to these disasters and ensuring that the communities impacted are receiving life-saving care. The reason they can respond so quickly is because they work year-round to prepare communities for such disasters. This is why we are hosting the Team Rubicon Preparedness Month campaign throughout the month of September. As we speak, Team Rubicon has a reconnaissance team in Puerto Rico to determine unmet needs. They are working with local community leaders to develop a response plan to assist residents impacted by the catastrophic flooding. And they're also planning to check with the families whose roofs were rebuilt after Hurricane Maria in 2017 to ensure that they were able to withstand this latest weather event and to offer additional support where they can. Thank you to everyone who has already supported this initiative. You have already raised over $200,000 with a week left to go. In times like these, Team Rubicon needs your support more than ever. All funds raised will support the Unrestricted Ready Reserve Fund, which fuels all aspects of Team Rubicon's mission and allows the organization to flex when and where the disasters hit. Donations also drive its year-round preparedness work, including volunteer training, mitigation efforts, and long-term recovery. As a reminder, anyone who donates $50 or more by Friday, September 30th, at 11:59 p.m. PT will receive the Seeds of Hope emblem. And the emblem is very green, very nature-ish. And you have a tree.
Very helpful.
And we have the Titan, the Warlock, and the Wardrobe. And some pirate music. What's better than being a space pirate that teams up with an adorably nerdy Elixir? I would die for Edo? ?
Ido.
Huh?
Ido. Her name's Ido. Or
Sure.
their name is Ido.
Listening to the sounds of adventuring as said space pirate that teams up with an adorably nerdy Elixir. Duh. But for any Bungie Rewards members that have been kicking butt and taking enemy names in Season of the Plunder, this season's soundtrack is available now to the Bungie store for free.
How much?
Again,
How many dollars is that?
Again, this season's soundtrack is available through the Bungie store for free. So what do you need to do? Well, simply put my tongue actually came out of my mouth and I bit it. Okay, so what do you need to do? Simply play through the Salvage and Salvation mission located in the helm. Have your account tied to your Bungie store logon, and you're ready to jam, or plunder, or scallywag, whatever you want to do. I'm still a little rusty on the pirate lingo. We all have our personality flaws. We've got some other goodies too, including that cute, stinking little lucent moth that we showed off during our recent Destiny 2 showcase. Players who complete the Beacon's Guidance quests by deciphering the locations of the hidden treasures can purchase an exclusive Beacon's Guide hat, which is only available during the Season of the Plunder. Players who have completed the players who have completed the Lepidopterist Triumph from the Witch Queen can purchase this exclusive collectible only from the Bungie store. Because anybody that tells you they don't want a cute little lucent moth simply cannot be trusted.
So that's the one we have to collect all the moss for. We have some guides in our show notes of collecting those each week. So if you haven't collected them, you have some guides.
I have not collected them.
You don't get a moth.
No moth, no hat. No need to pronounce that triumph at all.
Lepidopterus.
I am astounded that you got that at one go.
Right?
the number of words we all stumble across
Yeah.
every week.
When I've had
Bro, that
sleep,
was that's like hard mode word right there, man. What?
That's the secret.
sleep.
When I have sleep, I can put letters together and everything.
So, think legendary, but make it fashion. Now, this is something that we did point out. I think it was week 1 or 2 of the season. There was, I think it was Scarrow9 that did a video on this. There were 3 chess pieces that were available in the Eververse store for silver. I think it was like 600 silver each piece for the Titan, the Hunter, and the Warlock, which kind of synergize with different exotics. So for the Titans, you have the Doomfang plate, which go with the Doomfang pauldrons, which are the exotic gauntlets, and they do different glowy things, which look really cool. For the Warlocks, you have the robes of Nezarec. Arf, where is our lore on that piece? That synergizes with your Nezarec Sin helmet. And for your Hunters, you have the vest of Orpheus, which synergizes with the Orpheus rig, exotic boots. So that's available in the Eververse store, only for silver. And I believe they did this last season, but there were, I think it was helmets that went with other exotics from last season. I'm not sure 100% if they are still available in the Eververse store. If they are, I will let you know next week. I will go and check. Personally, I will check for you guys, unless you decide, in game to go and have a look for yourselves. And then that way you don't need me to tell you. But there you go. There's some stuff.
Question is, are any of these worth buying? Do you look at any of these and go, I need to have this?
Possibly.
I'm not saying they're not lovely. It just
I like the fact that they synergize with the exotics. Now it's been an age since I've put on my Doomfang pauldrons to go with the Doomfang plate. So, that might make me put it on and synergize it. So
you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
But we do have this week on the Deadliest Catch a player support report. We already told you what we fixed. Not we personally, but we Bungie have fixed, because now we're part of Bungie. I'm just calling it we're part of Bungie now. In 6206, we told you what we fixed. The Crucible Quitter pop-up is back. Bungie's investigating an issue where players were mistakenly receiving an early match quit pop-up when launching directly into another activity from the Crucible post-screen menu. Players will not receive a penalty when this occurs, but the pop-ups can be mitigated by going to orbit first and then going into your new activity. So if you had finished a Crucible map, you were on the end map screen, or end match screen telling you how you did or didn't do, and then you went to go play something else before the counter counted down, you were getting a pop-up saying, hey, you left the game early. You weren't really being penalized for that. It was just showing it to you, and it shouldn't have been. Another list of things the game shouldn't be doing that Bungie knows about. The Queen's Wrath perk on the Wish Under exotic bow works inconsistently on certain PvP maps. The 9 Lives Ghost Shell is missing flavor text. I know that'll decimate Gator because he loves his ghost shells. Oh, very so much. The duplicate shader rewards can drop from the bright engrams, which is something that Cheese put a video in about this week that my team will probably highlight, because Bungie had previously said you cannot get duplicate shaders from bright engrams, and Cheese was very upset about it, as were others getting duplicate shaders. The public event dialogue audio on Nessus does not properly trigger when participating in an event, which I feel like has been a bug for a while now. Don't look directly at the turrets in the catch crash activity because they are overly bright. Players may be killed when activating the bells in duality, so be careful around those bells. Those are the new issues. For a full list of issues, there's a link in the show notes if you care, and if you don't care, then you don't have to think about them until we tell you about the new ones next week. Now you ready to walk like a hive god?
Walk like an Egyptian.
no, Hive God.
Yeah, hive god.
Walk like a hive god.
I mean, they may be Egyptians, but probably not. No one's ready to walk like a hive god.
No, not yet.
There's 8 months of drawings, multiple art, video editing, but it's finally done. There's a movie of the week that took a whole lot of time, with a very sad boy sitting in the darkness. There's also some Osmium Dynasty lovely pyramid ships. And okay, this is absolutely how I would use all of me hearties as ways to transport beverages back and forth. That's what servitors are for. Putting bottles of brews on their head and having them follow you around.
Oh, goodness.
And yeah. and someone's wearing Nezarec sin, standing in the darkness and the ships. Yeah,
See,
there's
that's
lovely
what
artwork, and then there's
that's what I
pirates.
was desperately hoping for. You see how that glaive is made to look like a scythe? That is what I was really hoping this season would have for us. But no, they missed an opportunity. Sad panda.
And well, that's a wrap. Only one more TWAB to go before we get spooky in October. They've already given the festival lost dates for this
Halloween-y!
year in a previous TWAB. But for a few more things to share before that, we get to bust out the festival masks once more. But let's be honest, those masks, they are a gift from the gods. Or from our design team, either or. And a moment of silence for him. The chicken mask. Now this makes me sad that the chicken mask is getting a moment of silence. Does that mean we can't use it? Bungie, don't take our chicken mask.
Yeah, they're not saying why we're getting a moment of silence.
Well, but now that moment's over. So things will take you around. Hippie should go. We should go. But not before we tell people what else we may have in store for them. And I think we have
Tips, tricks, guides, builds, and fun things. Yay!
Small batch of Nitedemon specified videos.
Well, we will continue to tell you to go and sub to Cheese Forever to keep up to date with any glitches, any cheeses that may help you in the game. And also, Mr. the Plunder the Booty channel, which is also permanently linked in our show notes for any builds out there. Now, I know what you're thinking, that maybe...
Why isn't he telling you to also go follow us on YouTube? I don't know. I have no idea. Why he's plugging other YouTubers instead of our own YouTube? That's a really weird question.
We do that in the end of the show before we leave them, for in case people miss us.
Look, if you like the way that we sound, you can go and follow us on YouTube, because we do put the show out there each week. So there is some gameplay of me badly playing the game each week, without fail, with this podcast. You can go and watch that, but I'm not telling you to go and watch that. What I am going to go and tell you to do is go and watch Fallout Plays this week, because he has a very, very good guide on how to do your weapon crafting and power leveling, and stop doing certain things and stop going places that aren't very optimal. It's an amazing guide. Have you guys seen this week?
He told me
no, but if the Shirochi wish wall isn't one of his places to farm, then I can't trust him.
It is his only way, and there are certain elements.
He told me I should go be a hunter while I do it.
There are certain elements that you need, and a way that you kind of set yourself up to get the maximum out of doing this in the most, in the quickest time, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So even you as a hunter could learn something.
Probably not.
Specifically, he is a hunter.
Probably know exactly already what he does if he's already farming.
No, you don't. Yeah, this is the mistake that people are making, which he wants to point out. You may think that you already know what the optimal way of doing it is, but you don't, unless you're Fallout, of course, or you've watched his video and you've copied the video. Then you know. Well, so until you've done that, I'm not taking your word for it.
I'm the one that keeps telling you guys every week the Wish Wall's the place to go. But no, I trust me. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
I have never been to the Wish Wall once in my life. Or no, I'm sorry. I've been to the Wish Wall. I've never been to Shirochi once in my life.
I will take you one day.
Not friend. Even once.
Now, something also interesting in his video, he does point out there is another YouTuber or Discord user that has literally all the checkpoints saved. There's a bot that saves all the checkpoints that you can go and use. And I can't remember the name of the guy that was in Fallout's video, but if you go and watch the video, I think it's all linked in his notes underneath in the YouTube comments.
And yeah, I thought that was, I was very curious how that works to have bots holding checkpoints, because I didn't even know that was a thing. But if you're hunting for checkpoints, Fallout's got a guy. He's got a guy for everything.
So you don't even, you don't need to go stand at a wish wall and input codes unless you really want to.
Oh, speaking of Fallout, we never do this because by the time the show comes out, it's already over. But for next week, right? Because by the time you hear this, it's already over. So this coming weekend, also check out Fallout. He gives you Zer's God roll in under 60 seconds, right? He tells you what armors to get, what weapons to get, which ones to avoid.
Excuse me, sir. Yeah. What's a Zer?
So a Zer is a shadowy, tentacly faced guy that sells you stuff, right? He sells.
Is he not the one in the Days of Eternity?
Yes, he is, but magically,
So I just go
he's
there
got a
then.
twin brother.
So I just go and visit him there. No.
No, you can't visit him there because he doesn't sell you the stuff there.
Where do I go every week then, sir?
On Fridays, and he
comes on
leaves on
Fridays.
Mondays.
He leaves on Monday.
And you never know where he's gonna be. That's why you have to use Where Is Zer or one of these Where Is Zer websites to find where he's
the
at.
Fallout video and he tells me where he is.
Or that, which is what I was getting at.
Thank you, sir.
I would also like to recommend, if you are on iOS, which I have recently become, if you download the Braytech app of Braytech fame that I talk about lovingly because it's wonderful, you can set up push notifications for lost sectors and where Zer is each week, along with what he's selling. So you don't even, I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't watch Fallout's video, because you absolutely should, because it's marvelous. But if you just want the facts and want them quickly, Braytech on the phone gives you all the information you would ever need.
Yeah, so finish telling us about Zer. What does Zer do?
No, well,
Watch
Fallout's
video from last week. Yeah, if you need to know what a Zer is, go watch Gator's video from last week, and he'll tell you all about Zer.
Yeah. So basically,
Zer,
once a week,
is, what a Zer is.
Once a week, you get a guaranteed exotic if you can afford it from Zer.
Weapon.
He'll always weapon. He'll always sell an exotic weapon and one exotic armor piece for each class.
Yeah.
And then he sells 5 legendary armor pieces for each class every week. And the Fallout video I was telling you is a really good reference
as well?
because he does sell 5 weapons a week. And the video, the YouTuber I mentioned, Fallout, he tells you in 60 seconds what armors and weapons to get or to avoid. So, there you go.
So also, sir, I have another question. Somebody told me about a DMT or a Hawk Moon. What is that?
DMT is no longer in the game, so don't worry about it. There was a patch that just removed it from the game permanently. But the Hawk Moon is an exotic hand cannon that gets random rolls. Why is that unique? Because exotic weapons in the game, all come with standard rolls. They never change. The only exceptions to this are what used to be the DMT and are now currently only the Hawk Moon. They can get random rolls on this exotic weapon. So,
and can I purchase them from Zer each week with different rolls on?
Yes, that's one of the things you can get from him every week with different roles. And again, Fallout lets you know if it's a good roll, if it's a bad roll, if it's a PvP roll, if it's a PvE roll, etc., etc., etc.
Oh, what's happened to the Dead Man's Tale?
Nothing. He's.
No, it did. Look
at
all the videos that are coming out. Bungie just nerfed it again, and it's irredeemable. It's completely useless now.
That's
it's in the game. You just shouldn't be excited about it.
Yeah, it exists, but yeah.
So if you're trying to complete a quest of getting all your exotics or something, you can pick it up and put it in your vault and never think about it again. But Respawn is saying, don't be excited. It's not an exciting thing. It'll just
it used to be really, really good in PvE. And then, depending on the role, it was phenomenally good in PvP. There's a gun out there called the Last Word. And the Last Word's always been just a destructive force in PvP. And the DMT, aka Dead Man's Tale, going with the pirate theme, was the rifle version of this hand cannon. What makes them both unique is they get increased accuracy, range, and target acquisition when you do not sight into the weapon. So yeah, I mean, they're very unique traits. And like I said, for a while in PvP, it was just such a good weapon. And then Bungie nerfed it, and then nerfed it, and then nerfed it, and now they finally put the nail in the coffin. So sorry,
when you hip fire it like John Wayne, it's better.
Yes, much better.
Excellent.
My next video that I'm going to recommend to watch this week is from Aztecross, going over at the Sail Spy pitch glass and why it is meta. Now, this is with the Jolt perk, I believe, on there, which makes it the Jolt shot. And is
it Jolt or Volt?
Is it the Volt shot? Jolt, Volt.
What's the name of that perk?
Volt shot, yeah.
It's whatever that perk is that jolts or electrifies people. But he's done a lot of testing. It's a 10-minute video.
Scout rifle, right?
No, this is the linear fusion rifle.
Oh, linear fusion. Yeah. Oh, the heavy. Gotcha.
Yeah. People were saying that, these pirate weapons are a bit trash. And I've seen quite a few videos
Little bit,
going,
yeah.
yeah, but this one,
The only thing that redeems them is if you get one that rolls with that jolt thing. Because I've got a
yes,
sidearm and a shotgun that have them, and that makes them better. But if you don't have those, they are pretty crap.
but Bungie have weighed how much damage extra that they get by what the class is. So basically, he goes over. I think it's like the sidearm and like the scout rifle get like 250% more jolt damage, and how that procs and who gets it procced if you're doing it. He's done a lot of testing on it. So go and check this video out, because it may be one that you craft that is really, really good for like raids and dungeons and things. So go check that one out.
And while you're there, you can check out the video of why DMT was massacred, because that's the guy that made the video that I watched.
Next, I have a Destiny build crafting secrets from the top 0.1% player, the Muthru. Now, I also subbed to his channel just from watching this video. Definitely not Deacon approved, because it's 50 minutes long, but it's Patagates Gaming talking to him about like build crafting and the secrets that he kind of comes up with. Really interesting, of going from like a basic player to a top player, and how they kind of put their builds together and what they're looking for. So again, it's going to take a little bit more time to get through, but it is 50 minutes. It's worth a watch and a listen. And then finally this week, I have Jarv. Guess what? We were all wrong. There's an insta-melt overload exotic machine gun that we all must try. All of us.
I'm ready. Let's go.
What were we wrong about?
You were
Everything.
wrong about the Grand
Everything.
Overture.
Grand Overture. Is that the heavy for this season?
It was the heavy
Nope.
from, I believe it was last season, that when you fire it, you can charge it up to, and then it's the heavy slug launcher that then charges and then fires in full auto, which when the trigger is held down, and it does
Oh, that guy.
hella
Okay.
damage. Arc season, and this thing needs to be used. So check out Jarv's video. It's worth a watch. And that's it this
Is
week.
his name just Jarv or
Yeah, Jarv.
JRV. That's it.
JRV?
JRV.
Okay.
Yeah. But also, what I'd like to tell people before we disappear, or before I hand the show over to Peroty to close, basically, every week on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time to 2 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, I will be streaming, and I will be there helping anybody that needs help from the community. And I think this is something that Peroty and I and Respawn want to kind of do for the community. So not only do we want to give you a podcast where we tell you information, we would like to take you by the hand and guide you through some of this stuff. Now, we can't guarantee or even promise that we can get you a flawless carry in trials or get to 5500 in glory rank. But what we could guarantee you is a good time, because over like the last, couple of years, what we've realized is that a lot of new players are coming in, and rather than just kind of moan about it constantly that new players aren't getting a good deal on this, we'd rather help you through it. So even if you're a new player or if you're an existing player that just needs some help, from Wednesdays at the moment, I think it's 5 a.m. Eastern time till around, I'd say 10 a.m. Eastern time on a Wednesday, I will be around. If anybody needs any help to go through anything, I'm going to be there. So yeah.
If someone says that sounds exciting to me, but time zones are hard and I don't want to figure out that math, where would I go to maybe hit a button that will just tell me when you go live and when you're available?
Well, I believe I've set it up to go on YouTube and Twitch to say that I will be going live at those certain times.
So, I think you would need to go to twitch.tv/2titans and a hunter, and that's all spelled out. Or you can go to youtube.com/2titansandahunter, all spelled out as well, the same way, because we're kind of smart sometimes and do things like that.
That's rare.
Getting away from our roots as not streamers or YouTubers.
No, we're helpers.
We're not streamers or YouTubers. We're assisting people. And
Yes.
No. Okay. So jokes aside, having PP Pipe join the server really shows me how desperate new lights are. Like, you don't even know what a god roll is. You don't know what.
Yeah.
We take advantage of the knowledge base that we have, and somebody that just comes in whenever she asked what a god roll was, I was like, oh damn, oh girl,
Yeah,
my god,
there's such a massive. I mean, again, you've stepped into a war with a cabal. You've stepped into a game that's been going since 2014, essentially. I mean, yes, technically two separate games and two separate boxes, but basically one game and one story and one just glossary, one set of words and nouns and verbs to so go, what is this thing and how do I talk about it?
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to be terrible. I mean, it's like when you pick up any new game, that's been going on for a while, that's living and breathing out in the world, going, I don't know how to start. I don't know where any of this is. I don't know what these things even are.
Yeah.
So,
I
that's
mean,
why we try to explain to people, not just, hey, go here and do this thing. Here's what it is. Here's why it is. And that's one thing that I think, as we mentioned, Asdacross a couple of times, he did a complete guide to Trials of Osiris this week. What it is, how the reputations work, how the passages work. Or again, if you're new to the game, I'm not saying jump into Trials. In fact, if you're new to the game, I'm saying don't jump into Trials, because it is, pinnacle, top level PvP.
you can't
Like,
anyway. You have to be of a certain light level before you can get in anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but it's not a long not a long.
Oh
road.
no, they get that box. Yeah, Peroty's right. You get that power up box.
But if you
Yeah.
But if that is something, again, it's nice to see, like Nitedemon says, it's good to put out videos, but they do unfortunately go, stale pretty quickly, because again, the game changes, the game moves on, the game, like Respawn was saying, you can't get the Dead Man's Tale, you can't get the Hawk Moon in the missions where they came from originally. That's why they're sold on the weekends. A lot of things, you'll find a video, oh, go run this quest line to do this thing. Well, that quest line hasn't existed in 2 years. You can't. It's impossible. And trying to find accurate information about this game is a struggle sometimes. So that's why we try to walk that fine line between, you've been here for 7 years, and when we say Xur, you go, gotcha, know what this is, I'm good, right, versus what is that, who is that, why is that? So we try to sort of straddle that line of, what we're talking about, and you're going, I'm new here, please help me.
Yeah. What's the difference between a legendary and exotic? How do you get exotics?
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
So even if you've got any questions and you see us on streaming, and you can just jump into the chat either on YouTube or Twitch and just ask us questions, and we are more than happy to take you there and walk you through different steps, or we will just answer questions. If we actually know the answer, we will kind of help you through it. That's the best thing that we can do as like content creators that want to kind of help people out there, not necessarily just sticking to doing a podcast. We expand it to do streaming and help people as we're streaming. So if you need help, jump into the chat and ask for some help, and we will do our best. Sometimes we can assemble a team to take you through a raid, but can't guarantee it.
Oh, I mean, the raids are pretty easy
with the right people who know what they're doing and with time to do them. Yes. And that's where I'm also going to plug. If you're looking for, again, like PP Puppy said in her sort of review and message she left us, sometimes it's nice just to go, hey, I want to talk to a human, I want to ask a question. That's where Discord's a beautiful thing. Discord can be overwhelming, and it's so easy to join 1,000 Discords, and then all of a sudden you're drowning in Discords. But if you'd like to join our Discord, it's discord.twotitansandahunter.com, which will get you in there. And we're not a huge community. We're not a thriving community. There's not 10 trillion messages to keep up with. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's bad. But we're very helpful. We're very friendly. And we have lots of people here who are very helpful and very friendly too. Yeah. We're also just people hanging out, playing the game, doing the thing. And then there's Respawn, who we put in his own little box in the corner, who is neither friendly nor helpful. Well, never friendly, sometimes helpful. I'll put it that way. Yeah,
but Discord, but that's so hurtful, man. Come on.
Discord.twotitansandahunter.com. That'll get you into our Discord. And yeah, if you have questions, again, don't be afraid to come in and go, what is this thing? I'm trying to understand. Sure. Whether you're new to the game or, hey, I got deployed, I took some time away from the game, whatever it is, I come back to the game and now it's completely different than where I left it. Where did this go? Who is this? And why do I care? And should I care?
If you have a friend like 10 Creatures 88 did over on YouTube, while he was watching towards the end of the stream, said that he's got a friend that kind of needs to help getting into the game, just come in and I'll help you as much as I can.
Wednesdays will be the PG-13 child safe friendly version of the stream / help chat thing.
Wednesdays for now, anyway.
But the weekends is when I get online, and I have No One Respawns in Real Life.twitch.tv, and that is less PG, but still just as helpful.
And I think this week we've helped the people as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, we've given them lore, so they understand a little bit of history of some of the things that are in the game. We've told them about what's happening next week.
Yeah, we told them where to go get exotics and how they can look good doing it.
Oh,
A
yeah.
small child has asked questions of what is a Zer. So I think we've done our part this week. You know, there was no pirate talk apart from maybe the intro, because I might leave that in because I like that.
It is a really good pirate intro, and I think it's really good to say thank you for joining us. Your Titans are Peroty and Nitedemon. Your hunter is no one responds in real life. Your lore scribe, we found him as promised. Long lost Not Arf has returned to us to deliver some lore about Nezarec. You should email the show at twotitansandahunter@hotmail.com or on Twitter, because we know our handle, at twotitans_hunter. That's number 2titans_hunter. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere as Two Titans and a Hunter. That's Two Titans, TWO, all spelled out, and a Hunter. You know how the search box works. You start typing it. Really, you get Two Titans and you hit the A, it'll autocomplete. It knows us. We love you. We're here. We're here to help you out. You should find all your favorite guardians, setting nightmares ablaze, asking for directions in the underbelly, hauling keys for opulent loot. We're doing none of those things. But you should listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, maybe Spotify, if they feel like having it up. And if not, everywhere else fine podcasts are sold. You should watch the show on YouTube every week at youtube.com/twotitansandahunter. If you're just like, what is this thing? Where do I get to you? twotitansandahunter.com or discord.twotitansandahunter.com. We'll get you there. And if you want to join the Otter Dance Troupe, threaten us with a good time, or if you're seeking Deacon's approval, join our Patreon at patreon.com/TTAH. And until next week, gents, leave the people with any parting words or, words of encouragement, or just go tell them to go watch Esoteric so they can figure out what's going on with the story this season. Leave the people your parting thoughts. Mr. Nitedemon.
Yes, scurvy dogs.
And no one responds in real life.
Deuces? Arr. Hey, Peroty. So I got a new phone, and I was trying to put my Twitter account back on here because you reminded me, and it's asking me for my @tag. Could you look at the followers? Tell me what my @tag is, please.
Did we call it, or did we call it?